The hit, bang, and the block.
Sold out. The crowd already in a frenzy as Louis Aguiar gets set to kick off. O.J. McDuffie and Irving Spikes. Spikes, number 40, a rookie, to run it back. And Aguiar's kick floats into the end zone, and McDuffie from 2 yards in comes back out to the 23-yard line. He is tackled by Anthony Davis. The Dolphins, with Gary Stevens getting in a final word for Dan Marino. A spectacular career. Marino out of the University of Pittsburgh, now in his 12th season. Bernie Parmalee gets the start along with James Saxon in the backfield. Irving Fryer having a fabulous year. Ingram on the other side. Keith Jackson, the tight end. Up front, Webb and Sims, the strength of that line, the left side. Dellenbach, Widener, and the longtime veteran Ron Heller in his 11th season. That's Fryer in motion. 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. And Bernie Parmalee ran into his own man, Saxon, and gets stopped after a minimal gain by Tracy Simeon. The Chiefs play, as you look at Derek Thomas, a base 4-3. Neil Smith will play only sparingly tonight. We'll get into that in a moment. McDaniel starts in his spot. Phillips, Saliamua, and Mickle up front. Then the linebackers with Jameson out. They have Thomas, Simeon, and Rogers. Tracy Simeon hurt, won't play. Collins and Carter on the corners. Mincy and White are the safeties. Mincy starting in place of the injured David Whitmore, so they're really banged up. Smith is in on this play on 2nd down, and the catch is made by Keith Jackson up at the 30-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3. He is tackled there by Tracy Simeon.
Tracy Simeon trying to cover Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson, good receiver out of the backfield, 50 receptions already on the year. And going back over the Dolphins season, as we look at Keith Jackson, they lost a couple of key players to this offense, and they have struggled ever since. Terry Kirby went down in September. He was a versatile setback with 75 receptions a year ago. And Keith Byers, who could do it all, they lost him 5 weeks ago. They've missed them both.
3rd down and a short 3. Neil Smith, number 90, in the game, playing in pass rush situations only. The Dolphins stay on the ground, and the Chiefs are equal to the task as Tracy Rogers stops the ball carrier Bernie Parmalee for a loss of a half yard.
Boy, 3rd and 3, Dan, and you're going against a team that is 27th in the league against the pass, and you run the ball.
I can only assume that they're trying early to go against their tendencies to try to upset the Kansas City defense somehow. But I think tonight we're not going to see much of the Miami Dolphins running game. They are going to throw, and throw the football some more.
John Kidd picked up a couple of weeks ago to punt, and it's a beauty. The fair catch is called for, surprisingly, by Dale Carter. He was backing up, might have had a run back, but put his arm up and then backpedaled him to 10 yards and hauled it in at the 18-yard line.
Kidd spanked that one.
55-yard punt.
Net.
Kidd.
Yeah.
Steve Bono in his 10th professional season with Pittsburgh, with San Francisco, with Minnesota, but he's made only a dozen starts. Marcus Allen and Kimball Anders are the running backs. Burden and Davis are the wideouts, and Walker is the tight end. Oldzot, Grunhard, Shields, and Graham up front for Kansas City. From the 17-yard line, it's Marcus Allen for a gain of just 1. He is tackled by Jeff Cross. Now the Dolphins defensively, and they play a base 4-3 cross. Tim Bowens, their number 1 choice out of Mississippi, has had a fine year. Klingbeil and Coleman. And then the linebackers, Beavers is a rookie. Cox has been moved to the middle, and Hollier the other outside spot. The secondary was torched by Buffalo last Sunday night. Vincent and Brown on the corners. Stewart, the former Ram. Atkins, the former Saint, are the safeties. Greg Hill, the number 1 draft choice, is in the lineup for Kansas City. There was movement on the left side and no play. John Alt was backing up in pass protection before the snap, and is flagged for the infraction by Bernie Kukar, the referee.
Number 76 on the offense prior to the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
I think for a lot of years, the South Florida crowd here at Joe Robbie Stadium was really thought of in other parts of the country as not really being into the ball game. John Alt is the middle helmet there, and you can see him come out early. But this crowd in a stadium where the sideline seats are a long way from the sidelines themselves, boy, do they make a lot of noise. It's much noisier on the field there than you might think it should be or could be.
2nd and 14. There's movement up front again. We've got a flag, and this play is over before it starts.
Ball start. Number 82 on the offense tries to the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Derek Walker, the tight end. So back-to-back penalties against Kansas City.
Where you could see Dave Sott, the guard, up there arguing that one of the Miami Dolphins flinched and he made the first movement. But the ruling is if he didn't go into the neutral zone, look in the middle there. I think, is it Bowens? Yeah, Bowens number 95. If he's in the neutral zone, that should be a penalty against the Miami Dolphins. If he's not, then they called it correctly.
2nd and 19, and they give it to Kimball Anders, and he gives the Kansas City Chiefs breathing space, running it out to the 21-yard line. He is tackled there by Michael Stewart, and it will be 3rd down and 6.
That's a simple draw play and a good opening, good blocking over the right side. Derek Graham with the key block number 74 and gets Kansas City in reasonable 3rd down position.
At the 21 after a gain of 13, 3rd down and 6 on the Chiefs' opening drive. No score early 1st quarter, and again movement up front. Flags, but this play is allowed to develop, and it's a little toss to Kimball Anders, well shy of the 1st down, but you would feel that the penalty would be against the Miami Dolphins in as much as they let it continue. And let's see what Bernie Kukar has to say. Indeed it is.
It got back once, but each time it's been against the Dolphins, and it could be that Bono's got a difficult
Offside
count.
On the defense, number 91. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
You have to know Don Shula to know how uncomfortable that must be. Forget the Achilles tendon surgery. Being in a golf cart and not able to pace that sideline, I can't imagine his blood pressure right about now.
3rd and 1 for Kansas City at the 27-yard line. Bono in a split back set with Davis in motion. The play fake, the roll. He excels at this and puts the shoulder down and picks up the 1st down. He got by a very frustrated Dwight Hollier, who barks at himself.
Well, Bono definitely wanted to go downfield with it. He only had the few yards to cover on the ground, but he still wanted to deliver it, and he made a wise decision and gets the 1st down. Bono with over 300 yards passing last week in a losing effort against Denver. He had 6 starts with the 49ers. He won 5 of those. He is a pretty fine quarterback. The problem is he's replacing a legend.
5 minutes into the game with no score. Good fake. Bono throws a little too high, intended for Derek Walker. It'll be 2nd and 10. And let's get a report from the sidelines and Lynn Swan. What you got, Lynn?
Thank you, Alan. Concerning Don Shula, Bernie Kukar, the referee, said there's no specific rule, but the general rules surrounding safety of the players required him to look at Shula and this golf cart. He conferred with Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, who is here, and after talking with him, they decided he could be on the sideline, a stationary cart, 1 position for offense, 1 position for defense, but under no circumstances, no movement. And that was a ruling made before the game. Al?
So Don looks on from the golf cart as on 2nd down and 10, the ball is given to the rookie Hill, and he takes it out to the 40-yard line for a 1st down. Aubrey Beavers makes the stop, but there's a marker down. So 1 rookie, Hill out of Texas A&M, tackled by Beavers, the rookie from Oklahoma. The penalty is against Miami.
Craig Hill with over 400 yards rushing in tonight.
5-yard face mask penalty. Number 53 will tack it on to the end of the run. 1st down.
And they hit Beavers, who made the tackle for the face mask. Tacked on, as you heard, from the end of the run. And a good look at Greg Hill, the rookie out of Texas A&M, 5'11", 205 pounds. A real slashing type runner. Over 3,200 yards in 3 years at A&M. They like him a lot.
At the 45-yard line. For the 4th time in the game, we've had a similar infraction.
Are the Raiders here tonight?
Yeah, just like last week, Raiders San Diego. Hill made the catch, and you got Shields and Tim Bowens who were moving as the ball was snapped.
A lot of it could be the Miami defense been so maligned with no pressure on the passer, and I think they're trying to get a jump, trying to get pressure, and they're just beating themselves across the line of scrimmage, and they're drawing the flags. I think they're just trying a little too hard to put pressure on the quarterback.
That could be you could be right, Frank, because they have been beat up pretty good. Decent against the run, not so against the pass, and I think, let's be serious now.
On the defense, number 95.
This is
Illegal
December.
motion,
This is
38
when
in
the
the
level of
backfield,
play in the National Football League goes up several notches. And especially when you're facing what these two ball clubs are facing. There's a look at Bowens. He was in the neutral zone. But these guys have been working in pads since July. And a lot of their season is coming down to the 3 hours that take place tonight. And these guys are well aware of it.
1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Bono throws. Marcus Allen takes the swing pass. And almost a vintage Allen type of play. It appeared he could have been tackled for no gain. Instead, he picks up about 6.
But for the first man to bring him down, Michael Stewart had a great shot at him, but the pass was put out in front of Marcus Allen, well thrown by Bono, so Allen did not have to lose his movement. Ball placed right there. Now watch, that's the miss by Stewart, and nice pickup as Beavers makes the tackle.
2nd and 4. Marcus had missed some time with a knee injury, but he's 100% again. And he takes the handoff. I couldn't tell if that was a design play or just an out-of-sync handoff, but it works for very close to a first down.
Maybe they put it in to confuse Miami's defense, but I agree with you, Al. It was an awkward-looking handoff. It looked like Bono came out to his left, when in reality he should have come out to his right. He reacted quickly, though, and got the ball back in.
Whoops. I don't think that was on the drawing board.
Hey, who knows? Maybe it was. That's be pretty smart, but my guess would be no.
They should put it on there. 3rd down and a short yard. And the play fake. Bono on 3rd and inches fires for the first down. The catch is made at the 35. J.J. Burden hauling it in as they keep this drive moving. A 12-yard pickup.
Oh, good drive by Burden. Troy Vincent, Michael Stewart, they were inside out on him. He has a lot of speed. A good play action fake by Bono. They were respecting Burden's deep move. Troy Vincent and Michael Stewart, he was wide open.
The ball work by Steve Bono, long one of his trademarks, makes you think of somebody like Boomer Esiason, the way that if you're a defender, you see just enough of the ball to see it stuck out there as a handoff. Steve Bono, one of the better ones in the league.
Short drop, quick toss out to Lake Dawson. And the rookie from Notre Dame is tackled by the rookie Aubrey Beavers. So a drive that began at the 17, now into Miami territory, down to the 27. No score, 6.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Montana in uniform, but not expected to play.
And last play, a one-man screen. Derek Walker, the lead block, and a good block it was.
The Dolphins on the sidelines doing their very best to keep the players out of the way of Don Shula so that he has a sight line out onto the field to see the ball in the line of scrimmage.
6:10 left in the quarter with no score on 2nd and 3. This is Donnell Bennett, a rookie. A marker is down. Bennett played his college ball down the interstate at the University of Miami.
I thought Chuck Klingbeil, the defensive tackle for Miami, was in the neutral zone. Looked like he rocked forward. And the Dolphins having a difficult time staying on their side of the football when Kansas City is running their offense. This is
offside on the defense, a nose tackle. That's a 5-yard penalty that results in the first down.
In lieu of a number, just name a position. You can't be wrong. Chuck Klingbeil is the nose tackle, and he rocked into that neutral zone, and Steve Bono's cadence is causing a great deal of angst over on the Miami side of the ball.
We've had 5 5-yard penalties in the game already. 5:48 left in the first quarter with no score. 4-man rush. Bono stays in the pocket. And Bono fires. The catch is made for the touchdown. It's J.J. Burden.
Oh, and J.B. Brown slipped, fell as Burden made the move to the outside. J.B. Brown ordinarily pretty good on that man coverage. Got himself in a little tight, lost his footing. But easy touchdown.
If you want to see one play that's kind of a microcosm of the Kansas City defense this year, there it is. no pressure on the quarterback, and then a mistake in the secondary.
There's Burton wide open. J.B. Brown had slipped, and it's kind of a slippery field.
83-yard drive. It consumes almost half the quarter. This is Lynn Elliott with Aguiar holding. He boots it through. And so the Chiefs on their very first possession impressively march down the field, and a beautiful Bono pass to J.J. Burton into the end zone. 7-0 Kansas City. Beautiful sight, the Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes providing the scenic Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, a facility that opened in 1987. The Stars and Stripes floating down from nearby Pompano Beach with Richard Daniels
at the
controls.
At the conclusion of a Chamber of Commerce day here in South Florida. Just absolutely perfect. The temperature was in the upper 70s. Not a lot of wind. Just beautiful.
Not a lot of humidity. Aguiar kicks off, and it is taken at the 8-yard line by O.J. McDuffie, who gets tripped up and taken down at the 25-yard line. The tackle made again by Anthony Davis. Another look at Bono to Burton to put the Chiefs up 7-7.
There's cornerback J.B. Brown right there. When Burton comes down, he's going to make a move inside. Right here at this move, I want you to take a look at what happens to J.B. Brown. Frank was talking about it earlier. There's the break to the inside by Burton. Brown plants and falls flat on his face. A wide open J.J. Burton gets an easy Kansas City touchdown, although it was a nifty piece of footwork by Burton down at the pylon.
Now the Dolphins, for the second time tonight, have the ball. They were 3 out on their first series, and it is Irving Spikes. Spikes is a rookie from Northeast Louisiana. They began the season with Terry Kirby as their #1 back. Mark Higgs had led the team in rushing last year, but Kirby got hurt. Higgs is gone, and they've gone to Parmalee and the rookie Spikes. And this season, the Dolphins, Dan mentioning it at the top, only 12 points, no touchdowns in the first quarter. Last year, 13 to lead the league in first quarter TDs. No team has played a 16-game season without scoring a first quarter touchdown, and they have 4:50 on the clock in this period.
And what makes it unbelievable, from a yardage standpoint, they're the #1 offense in the NFL.
They came close last week. They scored 8 seconds into the second quarter, and this is O.J. McDuffie dropping the Marino pass, and it will be 3rd down and 4.
They don't score as many points as do the San Francisco 49ers, but the NFL keeps their stats in terms of yardage, and the Miami Dolphins move it up and down the field, but for some reason in that first quarter just haven't not gotten it across the goal line yet. It's a remarkable number. We asked Don Shula about it, and he's a little perplexed. There's George Jamison, a starting outside linebacker for the Chiefs, who's sitting this one out. He missed last week's game as well. He's their leading tackler.
3rd and 4 at the 31. 7-0 Kansas City as Marino gets great protection and guns one to McDuffie, who makes the catch at the 39. Spun out of the initial tackle attempt by Jay Taylor and is finally brought down by Taylor after a 12-yard pickup. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Miller Lite. You can expect great things from the great taste that's never watered down. Chrysler and the new Chrysler Cirrus Sports Sedan, and Braun electric shavers for the world's most recognized shave.
Well, I've seen it so many times. I still marvel at the confidence Marino has. Oh, that was perfect coverage on McDuffie, and he just fired it in the only place he could get the completion. Just believes in himself so much.
4 minutes left in the quarter. 7-0 Kansas City. Marino, after Miami's initial first down, throws in and out of the hands of Keith Jackson. I chuckle because Jackson, the subject of some stories this week, he was very miffed that ESPN had talked about during their game last Sunday, the fact he was leading all NFL tight ends in drops, which I didn't realize was an official category, and neither did Keith.
It's not.
And he drops one right here.
It's not. I would bring it up at a far with him. Any receiver. And that one, again, a perfectly thrown ball by Marino. Marino did everything but catch the ball.
However many he has, he now has one more.
Yes.
So we'll just leave it at that.
That was ugly there.
2nd down and 10 from the 43. Marino stepping out of the pocket, then throws cross grain and incomplete, and he goes down in the arms of Joe Phillips. Intended for Jackson. Pass coming up short.
Something you don't see a whole lot, a trademark of Don Shula teams, and John Sandusky, their offensive line coach, and that's a lot of pressure on Dan Marino. There's a pretty good matchup there. Jackson and Derek Thomas. Thomas gets that extra little shove. Derek Thomas, a complete football player, has an awful lot of sacks. He's got 10, but he can drop back and run with any tight end in the league.
Third down and 10. Aaron Craver is in the game, standing next to Marino out of the shotgun. Craver stays in the block with protection. Gunned into the arms of McDuffie, who fights his way for a first down at the 45-yard line. Tackled by the former Giant Mark Collins.
A lot of protection again for Marino. If you let him sit back there, he's going to find somebody. Good protection. And now he's having a little bit of a difficult time picking up the call from the bench. With this form all around him. Let's build a wall, as Marty Schottenheimer described it to us, around him, and if you give him time, he's going to find someone, and he will complete it.
First and 10, Miami at the Kansas City 44. 3:08 left first quarter. Chiefs 7, Dolphins nothing. Bernie Parmalee, and he has picked up close to a first down, just inside the 35, tackled there by Charles Mincy. Parmalee, who played on special teams for a couple of years, had off-season jobs as a UPS packer and driver in Muncie, Indiana, worked in a bowling alley, and because of the injuries, well, he's had his moments in the sun in 1994.
Let's check out Keith Jackson here against Derek Thomas. This time it's a running play, and good work by Keith Jackson getting into Derek Thomas and riding him about 7 yards downfield. Thomas looked to me like he was slow to recognize that it was a run, never got in on it.
On second and inches, Marino surveys the field, then throws underneath. This is Jackson. He's to the 32, and that's a Miami first down as Tracy Simeon makes the stop.
And Marino had a second down and 1. He was looking for a big one, and he was able, with the time he had, to pull off. And you got a quick look at Neil Smith being used in special occasions tonight. He has had some tough season.
Well, here's Keith Jackson doing everything. Now that's what they call a chip. That's where a tight end stays in, and then he'll chip that defensive end. Then he does the release and gets out into the pattern. Brent Jones from the 49ers, one of the very best at that, getting lost in there and then releasing.
Marino on first down. And this is Jackson again. Route runs Saliamua and then goes down after an 8-yard pickup. Dale Carter will get credit for the tackle, so to speak.
Did you ever see a guy just blow a tire while he's running? That's what Keith Jackson did right there.
I think he thought that was a linebacker in pursuit. It was actually, who was it, Joe Phillips? That's a big defensive lineman who had fallen off the play, and I think Jackson thought a linebacker was about ready to run him down. This is Saliamua in pursuit there.
That's where your legs just fail you. That's when it's late in the year and Jackson's coming out of the game, coming over here to the Miami sideline. He could have got a couple more, but boy, the tank was empty.
A moment ago on second and short, Marino was looking for 6 points. Will he do it again?
Almost like the joint was built on swampland. Second down and 2. Marino guns it over the middle inside the 10 to Ronnie Williams for a first down. A first and goal with 36 seconds left in the quarter.
Well, when I see my backup catch a pass like that, I'm going to get back out on the field. And guess what? Here comes Keith Jackson trotting back out and sends Williams to the sideline.
Oh, heady play by Marino. Gets a little bit of pressure, looking to the outside. Pulls up short of the line of scrimmage and delivers a absolutely perfect shot to Ronnie Williams.
I think, Keith Jackson got better in a hurry here.
That'll make you heal up.
First and goal at the 7. Waning seconds of the quarter. Can the Dolphins score in the first quarter tonight? 2 seconds left on the clock. Busted play. No. Down goes Marino. They still haven't scored a touchdown in the first quarter. Irving Spikes was to have been the recipient, but a busted play. It'll be second and goal when we come back. Into the first quarter, 7-0 Kansas City, and back we come with Monday Night Football after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We start the second quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf, Lynn Swan at Joe Robbie Stadium. The Kansas City Chiefs have had the ball once tonight and moved down the field, went 83 yards, lead 7-0, but the Dolphins have it second down and goal as they try to culminate a long drive with a touchdown. We start the second quarter in Miami. Ball is at the 10-yard line, second down and goal.
Still have avoided scoring that touchdown in the first quarter.
Yeah. They've had 12 points in the first quarter and 101 in the second.
And 114 in the fourth.
Looking for 7 more in the second. Right here, it's Parmalee, and he's in there. Touchdown, Dolphins.
Kansas City Chiefs came with the blitz. Dan Marino is a tough guy to blitz with that quick release. He had Parmalee out in the open, and that's why coaches go wild. They hate to call that blitz down there because it's do or die, and this time the Chiefs died.
Not enough people over in the left side. There was man-for-man coverage because of the blitz. Parmalee wide open.
Mark Collins had to come off late. Collins was covering a receiver down in the end zone. He had to fall off and get into it late. Not much he could do about that.
And Carter had gone in with the slant.
Pete Stoyanovich for the point after. That's the first touchdown reception of Parmalee's career, and he is the 8th different Dolphin to link with Marino for a touchdown this year through the air. John Kidd did the holding. Stoyanovich boots it through. The long drive ends 6 seconds into the second quarter as Miami ties it.
Good pick up on the blitz. Not enough folks over on the right side for the Kansas City Chiefs. Carter couldn't get back.
Each team has engineered a long drive, each culminated in a touchdown pass. There is Neil Smith with the ever-present designer Band-Aid.
Looks like he's got some gold lame on this thing. That's
Mickey Marcus that in Kansas City, doesn't it?
that's pretty stylish. Not my style, but it's kind of stylish. But dress it up a little bit, Neil.
As every day in this formal.
John Vaughn recently picked up from Seattle, takes the kick at the 3-yard line and dances out to the 18-yard line where he's tackled by Chris Green. And so the Chiefs, when we come back, have the ball for the second time tonight. 17 seconds into the second quarter, the game tied 7-7. There's the lineup tomorrow night on ABC. The regular shows, Full House, Me and the Boys Home Improvement, Grace Under Fire, and then the Barbara Walters special with the 10 most fascinating people of the year. And there's the lineup on Wednesday night. One of those 10 is Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. And we'll see the Cowboys next Monday in New Orleans. So Steve Bono going to work. 2 pump fakes and then throws it away incomplete. Derek Walker was the nearest would-be receiver.
Again, when the Dolphins got the pass push, they still were not able to get to Bono as they built a little pocket around for him. He had plenty of time, good coverage downfield, and I think the secondary has been a little too much maligned. They have Gene Atkins and Troy Vincent and Michael Stewart, J.B. Brown. They're pretty good defensive men back there, but they have been getting no pressure on the quarterbacks, and they paid a price for it.
2nd and 10. And Donnell Bennett, the rookie from the University of Miami, moves ahead for a minimal game. Joe Montana, the reports a couple of weeks ago said that he had decided to retire. I've never seen him so upset in denying them. I talked to him before the game tonight. He said, look, somebody's going to be right with a scoop one of these days because I only have so many options, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I am going to sit down with my family at the end of the season and decide whether I'll play next year or not. I have not decided at this moment.
And Marty Schottenheimer told us last night that if he had to bet, he thinks he'll be back. And I do too.
3rd down and 9. Bono guns one complete. J.J. Burton at the 39-yard line, and he's become a big burden to that Miami secondary already tonight. 18-yard gain.
And what a good description of it, Al. J.B. Brown was right there in the coverage, and again, good protection for Bono. That was about an 8 or 10-yard up and then across the middle. This takes a lot of time. Nobody is in Bono's face, and Bono was able to slide it in with good coverage and get it in there. And again, Bono with a lot of time.
Tom Olivadotti angry that his defense had given up a key first down. 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line. And here's Marcus Allen fighting his way ahead for 4. Brian Cox makes the tackle, and Marcus is another guy who will decide in the offseason at the age of 34 whether he'll come back. Allen and Montana each signed 3-year contracts with Kansas City. Next year would be the 3rd for each.
When you become an older player, your number one concern is you don't want to be a burden. You want to be a productive football player. You are too proud to stand the thought that someone's looking at you and pitying you. And guys like Marcus Allen and Joe Montana, if they feel they can produce, they will play until they can't.
The only time you want to be a burden is if you're JJ. It's 2nd and 5. And the catch is made by Donnell Bennett. And he has a first down as he's banged down by Brian Cox at the 49.
Bennett out of the University of Miami, as Al mentioned a moment ago, and a good all-around, excuse me, a good all-around football player. They're a good receiver, as most Miami products are. They work out of the backfield. And they're taking a long look at him tonight.
12:05 remaining in the half. Schottenheimer chewing on the pen. The game tied at 7. Walker in motion. Fake. Bono. Catch is made by Walker, and that's an 8-yard pickup. And every time you look at Bono, and we're not remotely suggesting he's Joe Montana, but you look at him physically and those little moves and the half steps that he takes and the way he escapes from pressure, he looks like Montana.
Well, they're doing a Montana act here. He's trying to go deep to Burton. He buys the time in the pocket, and how many times have we watched 16 and 19 do that?
Well, I don't think you can.
Comes off the deep receiver and comes back to the man underneath.
I don't think you can be around someone as long as Steve Bono has been around Joe Montana and not absorb and inherit some of his characteristics.
2nd and 2. And a nice run by Bennett through the middle, found that little hole and exploited it, and takes it to the 33-yard line.
If Steve Bono can't look at Joe Montana and figure out that, hey, this is a guy worthy of emulating, well, then there's something wrong with Steve Bono. Here's 2 plays ago. Take a look at this again.
Seen this, hiding the ball, even dancing, not losing it in here, looking deep to Burton. Burton's covered. Steps back in the pocket, gets it to Derek Walker. Boy, he does look like Joe.
It's amazing. You could put a 19 on it or a 16. You'd never know the difference. 1st and 10. Fake, going deep, and incomplete. Reaching for it was Eric Martin, the long-time New Orleans Saint, picked up earlier this year. Brown and Atkins with the coverage.
That did not look like Joe.
No, that did not look like Joe at all.
Oh, how quickly we disavow any knowledge of what we had to say a minute ago.
I mean, you got double coverage, and he had protection. Not the place to put it. He could have lost this one very easy. J.B. Brown was there.
Gene Atkins comes over and delivers a hit. If he doesn't deliver the hit, he gets an interception because this ball bounces right up in the air. Atkins lost track of the ball and getting a hit on the receiver.
2nd down and 10, and Greg Hill swings to the outside, turns the corner, and fights for the first down. Tackled by Aubrey Beavers at the 23-yard line.
Boy, what a move he put on Michael Stewart to get back into the inside. We talked about him being a slashing runner with a great cut. You saw it right there. He planted that left foot, broke it to the inside, and got the first down.
Somebody made a block on the corner out there. I don't know if it was Donnell Bennett, the fullback. Somebody at the point of attack made a heck of a block, put somebody on the ground. I believe it was Donnell Bennett, the fullback. Let's take a look at it. It'll come from the left-hand side. There it is right there. Bennett, he's working against number 50, Dwight Hollier.
Look at that move to the inside.
Yep. First down at the 23-yard line. And the pass is off the fingertips of Willie Davis at the 21. It'll be 2nd and 10. And the last time we saw Willie Davis, who was covered by Vincent, Davis scored on that touchdown pass from Montana in maybe the best game in Monday night history earlier this season in Denver, when Joe and the Chiefs came from behind to beat the Broncos.
8 seconds left on the clock. One of the great games we've had on Monday night.
Who threw that pass?
Yeah.
Bono.
2nd down and 10 on the 11th play of this drive. A little roll. Bono throws. Catch made by Marcus Allen at the 3, first and goal.
That was Montana. Well, I tell you, you never let Marcus Allen come out of the backfield and run free. He is a great receiver, one of the all-time great receivers, approaching 5,000 yards in reception. He just ran free out of the backfield. Nobody was considering him. The nearest man to him, Atkins, laying back deep in the hole, actually at his own goal line. You can't do that to Marcus Allen.
Bono is 8 of 12 for 101 yards. The Chiefs already have marched 83 yards for a touchdown. Now they're trying to go 81. First and goal from the 3. Again, nice play fake, a roll to escape the pressure, looking, and then throws it away. Nice play by Bono with nobody open. Second and goal.
Good, smart play.
Boy, he came awful close to stepping out of bounds before he threw that ball away. Who is that guy I'm watching out there?
And not putting down Derek Walker or Jimmy Johnson. What this offense needs, the offense that is controlled by Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator, is a tight end. And one of the reasons they've had difficulty in the red zone, and they have been horrendous inside the red zone, they do not have that big tight end. Keith Cash has been injured for 8 weeks.
They're third worst in the league. Last year they were third best. Here's Marcus Allen. Touchdown Chiefs.
Tremendous blocking on the right-hand side by the Kansas City Chiefs. Ricky Siglar was in there. He comes in to play tight end, lines up next to Derek Graham. That guy there, number 74. They eradicated the Miami Dolphins. Whoa, that's the way to cave it in.
And only their second possession, right?
Yep, the motion man, 82, is Derek Walker, but look how the whole thing is collapsed in there. Excellent work by Kansas City at the point of attack.
And the crowd booing the Dolphin defense because not only have they given up 2 long drives tonight, last week they gave up 35 second-half points to Buffalo. Lynn Elliott boots it through. And the Dolphins have not indicated at all they'll be able to stop Kansas City tonight with 9:05 left in the half. 14-7 Chiefs.
Don Shula had his guy drive him over to where the defense sat down when they came off the field, and he is an upset head coach, and I think some of those defensive players are fortunate that Don can't get out of that golf cart. About 30 seconds or a minute ago, he was screaming at anybody and everybody who had anything to do with the Dolphins defense.
Kansas City just won 81 yards. Louis Aguiar to kick off. Irving Spikes and O.J. McDuffie to receive. 9:05 left in the half, and the Chiefs are up 14-7. At the 5-yard line, Irving Spikes, the rookie, brings it back to the 19-yard line.
As Al mentioned, when you give up 35 points the week before, coaches expect you to come out and play hard to get started. Don Shula talking to Joe Green and everybody else involved with the Dolphins defense.
Dumb, a person lacking mental power.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Stupid, a person below normal intelligence. Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels, Dumb and Dumber.
I like it.
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday.
Defensive coordinator Tom Olivadotti on the sidelines talking to his defensive unit, who, as Dan characterized, they came off the field, their heads were hanging down, and there wasn't much they could do about it. And there has not been much they've been able to do about it for some time. Here's Joe Green. Their personnel, the best pass rusher, Jeff Cross, has been hampered with an ankle problem, and they are just getting blown off the line of scrimmage thus far this evening.
At the 19-yard line, Miami starts its third drive, 8:54 to the half, and is moving on the left side, and Keith Jackson was off and running before the snap. Bernie Kukar is the ref.
Ball start. Number 88 on the offense prior to the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Don Shula is really upset first with the defense, and this was his reaction a moment ago when Jackson was offside.
I'm not sure that I'd volunteer to be the driver of Don Shula's golf cart.
He may drag that thing out onto the field.
If this thing doesn't improve for Miami, there may be major hostilities down there before this is over.
On 1st and 15. Marino throws. The catch is made by James Saxon. And the former Chief takes it out to the 39-yard line. With Keith Myers hurt and gone for the year, Saxon's become the fullback. And he pays off here with a nice gain, a 25-yard pickup.
4 years with the Chiefs, 88 through 91. And, of course, when the new regime came in, he was considered expendable. He came to the Dolphins, pretty good receiver, working out of the backfield, and he gets an important first down for the Dolphins out over the 35.
And a nice block by Keith Jackson, the recipient of the earlier penalty, helped spring him. First down at the 38 with McDuffie in motion. And Marino surveying the scene, throws Saxon again, and he's wrestled down at the 44 by Derek Thomas. Next week we go to New Orleans, the next to last week of the regular season. And the Dallas Cowboys hitting the bump in the road on Saturday and losing to Cleveland. Dallas tries to rebound against the New Orleans Saints. Winners last night over Atlanta 29-20 from a Superdome. Cowboys Saints next Monday night.
They did hit a bump. Bill Belichick, what a fine job he's done with these Cleveland Browns. As who? Bill Parcells, come along with the New England Patriots. Fascinating playoff scenario.
From the 44 on 2nd and 5, a little toss to Bernie Parmalee. And he runs for a first down, takes it to the 45-yard line. Simeon made the stop, and James Saxon provided the block to Springham.
Yeah, I think Dan's having a difficult time picking up the play with the headset.
He does that a lot, putting his hand up there on. I don't know that if he can't hear or if it's just a reaction that he does or not. It certainly gives that impression when you look at him up there, but he does it game after game. There's Gary Stevens, the offensive coordinator, working the Dolphins sideline.
He makes the call, and then Bernie Kosar has the microphone and talks to Marino through the helmet headset. And Dan throws underneath, and the catch is made by Aaron Craver for a short gain.
One thing about it, Dan, not unusual, as there's the brain trust over there. Bernie Kosar and Gary Stevens in the middle, and
that's running backs coach Tony Nathan on the left-hand side.
One of the great receivers for the Dolphins in their glamour and glory years. I think you might be right. Maybe just closing off the ear holes to cut out the crowd. Bernie Kosar, all those great years with the Cleveland Browns, helped Dallas out to the Super Bowl last year, and now here is an unrestricted free agent.
Pretty good day's work for Marino so far, over 100 yards.
Good start for both quarterbacks. As Aaron Craver takes it down to the 27-yard line. Neil Smith, who's been in and out of the game. Smith, you might say it's been a thumbs-down season for him. Each thumb.
When does this come to you, Al?
A big problem, and he had surgery, in fact, on a thumb last Monday.
He had his surgery on his left thumb. He injured his right thumb earlier in the year and had surgery on his left thumb. He hurt it in their game last week, and so now this guy has got major problems, and it hurts him in tackling, and that's why they're trying to limit him mostly to pass rushing situations.
Very sore elbow also.
Oh yeah, his nose looks okay though with that fancy bandage on it.
Comes everybody down at 2. He tried to get in his face, and Craver simply drops it.
Craver would have had a lot of yardage out of that one. The blitz was on, and Marino was able to get it.
I know one thing, if I'm the Miami Dolphins and their offense, and look at Dan trying to tell the crowd to stop getting on our case.
I can't hear the play that's being called.
They got to account for Neil Smith. They let Neil Smith come in by himself. Fourth down, and they're going to go for it.
You saw Schottenheimer motion from the sideline, stay into his defensive unit, because you're in that no man's land here where you don't want to try a field goal from 54 at this point in the game.
They're down to 5 seconds.
That's what Dan Marino wanted the crowd to quiet down so he could get the play in.
Well, he had a receiver.
Now he is forced to call timeout.
So timeout, 4th and a yard and a half when we come back. 5:15 remaining in the half. 14-7 Kansas City. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Dodge. The more things change, the more things look like the new Dodge. Apple Computer, makers of Macintosh personal computers for business, home, and education. And Miller Lite. You can expect great things from the great taste that's never watered down. The ball is at the 37. The Super Bowl will be here on January 29th. We'll be here to cover it. And right now these two teams trying to enhance their playoff opportunities. Miami with a 4th and a short 2 at the Kansas City 37 after a timeout. Dolphins trail by 7. And Marino to throw. The line does a nice job. Craver makes the catch. And Aaron, after dropping what would have been an easy reception and first down, atones for it by being on the other end of a Marino conversion here. As you look at Keith Byers, apparently listening into the calls. Through the helmet.
Either that or he's trying to hear the ocean.
That's the big part of Miami's running game. That's the short pass. They do that better than they run the ball.
You know, football players are kind of gullible. You know, they always go for those turkeys on Thanksgiving. Maybe somebody told them if you, like a giant seashell, you pick up your helmet, you can hear the ocean.
Or the inland waterway. First down at the 30. 4:48 to the half. He'd gotten behind the linebacker, Tracy Rogers, who was trailing him, and with good concentration makes the catch and is tackled by William White.
What Rogers a throw. Filling in for Jameson, and he had no chance. He didn't even realize the ball was in the air. Marino put it right in front of Rogers. Had he known it was there, he could have had a swipe at it.
Look at this throw by Dan Marino. It is perfect. Tracy Rogers is mere inches away from the football. As Frank said, he didn't know it was there, but the ball just absolutely right had to be from Dan Marino.
First and goal. And slicing his way inside the 5 is Parmalee. So this is the 4th long drive of the game. The Chiefs have executed 2 of 81 and 83 yards. The Dolphins had a 75-yard march. This drive began at the 19.
It's an important game for both of these ball clubs. Much more for Kansas City, however. This could be it for them. And the Dolphins could find themselves in trouble. They lose tonight.
10th play of this drive. 2nd and goal at the 4. 3.5 remaining in the half. 14-7 Kansas City. Marino.
Sorry, you can't nobody against that. Nobody has ever in the history of this game made up their mind to throw a football and then have it happen quicker than Dan Marino. His release, in my mind, is unparalleled.
And I'll tell you, good hands on the part of Irving Fryer. That ball had everything Dan could put on it. He saw a gap between defensive linemen. Not bad coverage by Carter. Little move to the outside. Carter almost there, but with the velocity of that ball, he wasn't going to get it. Marino throwing it underneath an outstretched hand. Picture perfect, and you had a great look at it, too. Good coverage, guys.
That's a Rembrandt. That is a Rembrandt.
Fryer's first catch of the night, 66th of the season. And Marino's 30th touchdown pass of the year. Stojanovic boots it through. It's the 4th time in Dan's career that he's thrown 30 or more touchdown passes in a season with 2.5 games left. Another long drive, another touchdown, tied again. And stripes hovering above Joe Robbie Stadium in North Miami. Capacity crowd, and it's been a fan's delight. A lot of offense to this point. I guess a neutral fan's delight. The Miami crowd not too enamored with its defensive unit to this point.
This was a tough ticket to come by here in South Florida. This game has been sold out for a long time, and even when word got out that Joe Montana was injured, that didn't dampen the enthusiasm in this crowd at all.
Stoyanovich kicks. This is John Vaughn from the 5-yard line. Bringing it back out to the 28. So with the third time tonight, the Chiefs will have the ball. Steve Bono has engineered 2 long drives. Marino just engineered the last one, and the game is tied at 14. Kansas City will have the ball at the 28-yard line. It's the third time they've had the ball in the game. Joe Montana looking on. Steve Bono has played brilliantly tonight. The Miami defense has not shown any indication they can cope with what Kansas City is throwing at them on the other side of the line at this point. And Bono begins this drive by gunning one incomplete. The intended receiver, J.J. Burton, and the way this game has started out, gents, you get the feeling whoever has the ball last is going to win the game.
Well, Dan mentioned that this had been sold out for a long time. It's really sold out. It was going to be a Marino, Montana, and 84,000 yards between these two. Steve Hurt came up with that somewhere, and you put that into mileage, that's a lot of miles. I don't blame him for being here. They're getting a good show tonight.
I think it's like 48 miles, but hey, it's December. It's the National Football League, and in so many cities around the country, their teams are fighting for playoff spots, and these are 2 of them. The pressure is on, and the fans know it, and that's why they're here.
That was Danelle Bennett taking it up to the 36-yard line.
And everybody down here, guys, you know, I touched on this at the start of the show. They remember what happened last year when they lost 5 in a row. That hurts, and they're trying to get rid of that memory.
And also what happened
losing 5 in a row and missing the playoffs.
And what happened in 1991 too, when they only had to win or tie in either of their last 2 games.
Yep, you're right.
And couldn't and missed the playoffs. 3rd down and 1. And meanwhile, the Chiefs are saying we have enough of our own problems. 3rd and 1 at the 37-yard line. And Marcus Allen picks up the first down. Flag is down up at the 43. After a lot of penalties very early in the game, we've had a relatively penalty-free first half.
Well, once we got that first series out of the way.
And this one's coming back, so we didn't first down.
Didn't we have like 4 offsides penalties on that first series of Kansas City's, and the Dolphins kept jumping offside?
We were conditioned
Holding
for that from last week.
Number 61 on the offense. The 10-yard penalty. We're going to beat 3rd down.
Well, it's just so unusual to see any penalties called against the Don Shula team. They are so well drilled. The Dolphins, for years, were, if they weren't the league leader, they were right among them.
That is true.
Fewest penalties of any team in the NFL. And the crowd here has come to life.
3rd and 11 after the penalty against the center, Tim Grunhard. 3rd and 11. Bono throws to Allen, but Marcus is stopped well short of the first down by Chris Green. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning, which comes officially with 1:53 left. The Dolphins about to get the ball back after they stop the Chiefs for the first time tonight. Saturday stars from the PGA Tour, the Senior Tour, and the Women's Tour have it out in the Wendy's 3-Tour Challenge right here on ABC. And then the Johnny Walker World Championship coverage beginning Saturday from Jamaica. That was a great tournament last year. They played the black course and the red course. And
you deliver that so smooth.
Well, yes, you do. I understand there's a blue course down there as well.
The black course. The black course. The black course, though, your favorite,
no,
right?
The blue course is my new favorite. Here's the punt on 4th down as Aguiar sends one down in the direction of O.J. McDuffie, who hauls it in. Fair caught at the 26. It's a 44-yard boot. And with 1:44 left, Miami will try to take the lead. Now, in the history of the league, coach-quarterback tandems, Shula and Marino, have linked up and been involved with more games than any other tandem. Knoll and Bradshaw, 158. Hank Stram was here tonight broadcasting the game, and Lynn Dawson and Dan Reeves and John Elway were 142 games in which the quarterback started for that particular coach. So Marino and Shula, number 1 on that list, and each guy figures to be around a while longer.
Don's been around 32 years. He's hooked up with a lot of them.
It appears that a lot of those good quarterbacks gave their coaches some longevity.
From the 25-yard line, Marino drops it off underneath to Aaron Craver, who tries to get out of bounds and does at the 33-yard line to conserve a timeout. They have 2 remaining. Looks like a postcard.
I think it's the brainwaves of some of our crew after their Christmas party last night.
Some of them are absolutely stone cold dead.
And from the blimp, there's a look, a live look downtown Miami, about a 40-minute drive from Joe Robbie Stadium. Second down and 3 from the 33-yard line. Here's Marino throwing, and a timeout is saved again as O.J. McDuffie is able to pick up the first down and step out of bounds with a minute and a half to go in the half.
What a frustrating night for Derek Thomas. He is being met by one of the best in the business, Richmond Webb, most of the time that he comes across the line of scrimmage, and Webb is dominating so far tonight.
And I think maybe some of the respect for Richmond Webb we're seeing is how often tonight we've seen Derek Thomas back in pass coverage. Now, this is the best pass rusher that the Kansas City Chiefs have, and a lot of times he's working himself back in coverage. A lot of it might have to do with this guy, one of the great pass blockers in the NFL.
From the 42-yard line, Marino throws incomplete, and the crowd moaning, and Keith Jackson shaking his fists, wanting a flag and not getting one.
There's one frustrated tight end in Keith Jackson. Let's take a look at how good the coverage was here. Jackson's the inside guy. Watch him take a break to the inside with Mark Collins. Collins is grabbing him, but he didn't have anything to do with that pass. That's a drop by Keith Jackson. Mark Collins not in on that at all. That's a drop all the way for Keith Jackson. Right through his hands.
Second one tonight. That was the first down there. Earlier, a big first down.
Second and 10 at the 42. And Marino going deep, but a little too deep, intended for the sprinter Mike Williams.
Boy, and just off the fingertips. That inside-out coverage, and they're Charles Mincy trying to get over and support Mark Collins, and Marino had it right between them. Take a look at Derek Thomas once again. Anytime he's involved with the pass rush, he's going to be confronted by big number 78 Richmond Webb.
This is a line stunt right here. The end goes first, and then look at Webb fold back out on the tackle, Darren Mickle. That is a textbook way of picking up that line stunt. They call it an ET. The end first, tackle second.
Third and 10. Marino hanging right in there and then throwing too high. Intended for Mark Ingram, who's been silent tonight.
Boy, Dan got away from the blitz. He had a guy coming right at him and makes him miss. Was it Mark Collins coming on the corner blitz? Boy, that's the time where you'll see a quarterback more often than not take a really punishing shot. Marino just a little step up, and Collins whizzes by.
That's also the time you're looking at a potential 6 points if he could have found the right receiver.
And John Kidd, whose only prior kick tonight was 55 yards, sends one down in the direction of Dale Carter, but he lets it bounce, and the Dolphins are going to down it inside the 5-yard line. At the 3 with 58 seconds remaining. Grant Boyer, the rookie from Arizona, downing it. So Kidd tonight.
I think he slid into the end zone with the ball, Al.
Well, yeah, he did.
I think he slid into the end zone with the ball.
Actually, if they'd have left the ball there, they would have been
the ball
fine.
was going to die by itself.
It had died.
The crowd here booing, but if any part of your body slides into that end zone with the football.
These guys on these special teams are so stoked up.
Yep.
And they just could not control themselves. This ball would have just stopped right there at about the 2-yard line.
It's dead. That's number 52 sliding in there, Brant Boyer. And guess what? He's a rookie.
Yep.
Surprise, surprise.
So instead of starting at the 2 or 3, out they come to the 20. And they have all of their timeouts. And the catch is made here by Davis, who takes it up to the 32. This completely changes the strategy, because had Kansas City been pinned against the 2, Miami would have taken its timeouts defensively to get the ball back. Now it's Kansas City trying to move into at least field goal range.
An accurate assessment. Very good.
Total yards in this half, Miami has 185 and Kansas City has 184. And the game is tied. And again, a look at that punt, which would have just stopped dead had nobody touched it, but instead Boyer slides into the end zone. His body got into the end zone and then brought it out to the 20.
They're conditioned to do one thing: find that ball, squish it.
2 timeouts remaining for Kansas City. It's 1st and 10. They set up a screen. The catch is made by Kimball Anders, and he gets to the 49-yard line. He's tackled there by Brian Cox and others. And KC takes another timeout. They have 1 left and 40 seconds remaining in the first half. The commissioner, who we saw last Monday in San Diego, making the rounds here in South Florida.
He was in Dallas over the weekend, taking in the Dallas-Cleveland game. A hands-on commissioner.
And he's seen a good one to this point.
I noticed that in his little tour of the South, he missed the Chicago Green Bay game at Lambeau Field, where it's 15 degrees.
He's also a smart commissioner.
1st and 10, Kansas City from the 49-yard line. Bono, that short drop, and then the pass to Willie Davis to the 39. The Chiefs have 1 timeout remaining, and they would like to conserve it. J.J. Burden made that last catch at the 40-yard line, and now Bono with the clock ticking down. Will go to the air again. And a beautiful, great catch by Lake Dawson. Made the catch, steps out of bounds, saves the timeout.
Boo, the rookie from Notre Dame with a great play.
To the 28-yard line.
In range now for Lynn Elliott.
You know, that is such a smart call by Kansas City. They had the first down. They could have just spiked the ball to stop the clock. Beautiful work of getting the feet in bounds by Lake Dawson. They kept the ball moving upfield. They played the sideline knowing they were either going to get a completion and out of bounds or an incompletion that would have stopped the clock. What did you gamble? Just maybe another 3 to 5 seconds.
From the 28-yard line. The deep drop. Great protection. Goes short. Oh, and it's picked off in the end zone by Troy Vincent. And he's going to come out and gets banged down by Marcus Allen at the 15 with 5 seconds left in the half. So they were in Lynn Elliott's field goal range, and now Miami's going to get the ball back to end the half.
Well, earlier in this half, Bono put one up for grabs that was not intercepted. This one, again, he should never have thrown. Double coverage, inside out, well within field goal range. They were looking at a potential 3 points, and they give it away.
That is not the throw into coverage that you would expect from a 32-year-old 10-year quarterback in the National Football League, given the aforementioned situation. Being in field goal range with this little time left in the half.
But a 32-year-old quarterback who's only made 11 starts, counting tonight. Well, Brent Musburger will be along from New York, and a lot happening in the league in terms of people like Randall Cunningham and Jim Kelly. And then we'll try to clear up and make crystal clear the playoff picture, which can be pretty confusing, but some interesting tidbits coming your way at halftime, so stick around. Shula parted off. The teams go back to the locker room tied at 14. In fact, we come after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
See it with Mariana Toyota, and you watch NFL football on 13 Strong.
Trying into the Ring of Honor here at Joe Robbie Stadium, Dwight Stevenson, one of the great centers ever to play this game, candidate for the Hall of Fame, of course. And I know, Dan, what you feel about this man. We lost him right here in a Monday night game, and it just broke us up.
Yeah, it's one of the things that really upsets me is that we had to be here the night that he had his surgery, you know, that he got the knee that required the surgery. And Dwight Stevenson did things at center that I just hadn't seen done before. He's the quickest center, and he was, to an offense, he brought you something that is a great gift to an offense, and that is a center who could block the nose tackle all by himself. He removed the double team from the offense as far as a guard and a center having to double team the nose tackle. What a big plus that is. Congratulations, Dwight. You deserve it.
Here we go, the second half. Good first half in a very key game. In the AFC, the game is tied at 14. Kansas City will get the football. That's John Vaughn. Back to receive, Pete Stoyanovich to put it in the air. And the third quarter is underway. Vaughn from the 9-yard line. It's taken down at the 25-yard line. Tackle made by Sean Hill. Well, the score dead even, and the numbers very reflective of that, with each team engineering 2 very long and time-consuming drives in that first half.
I know you just touched on it, Al, but this is so important as you to both these teams. Time of possession very close, numbers so even. The one turnover by Kansas City that's so important for both these teams.
That turnover took them out of field goal range, certainly the possibility of a field goal that would have given them the lead by 3. He's run over the air. He swings it out into the flat to Marcus Allen. Good spin move on Cox. And he's finally tackled up at the 31-yard line by Aubrey Beavers.
34 years old. And that was one of you. There's a lot of 21-year-old backs couldn't master that move. Never have. Out in the flat. Again, this is such a part of this offense they've installed here at Kansas City. High percentage completion, spin to the inside. Brian Cox flat miss it.
So fluid when he moves, so graceful. Almost looks effortless when you know it's not.
Second down 4. Marcus Price is really about a yard and a half shy of the first down. He may be 34, but he loves to point out, he said, you know, I'm really 31. The way the Raiders used me over those last 5 years, that was worth only 2.
It's always guys in their advancing years talking about, I'm really not as old as I seem. But it's a valid point, especially in a running back. You know, when you look at his legs and you look at the pounding the guy takes over the years, there might be some truth to that.
He was a very heady runner, too. You saw him a moment ago, but when he knew it was over, he was down on the ground.
Tight formation, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. And Bono with the play fake, and then has to swing it underneath an incomplete intended for Donnell Bennett. Brian Cox covering, 4th down, and the Chiefs forced to kick.
One of the reasons they moved Brian Cox into the middle linebacking position, if you look at Don Shula once again on his golf cart, so he could move to both sides of the field. Now, Cox is a fine linebacker, but when they moved him to the inside into this position, they took away a lot of his capabilities of rushing the passer. He doesn't rush the passer well from there. He gets into this kind of a play, but in 92 and 93, this guy had 19 sacks. He's had 2 this year.
Aguiar to kick, McDuffie back to get it. 43-yard punt. Jay McDuffie brings it back to the 39-yard line. Tackled there by Monty Grau. 18-yard return, 13-17 left in the third. Still tied at 14. All right, let's get an update from the field and Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Well, Al, at halftime, both teams felt offensively they were in good shape. It's a defense they wanted to make some changes. Marty Schottenheimer believes if he can take his defense, make them get into second and long situations, they'll come out on top in this ball game. And both Joe Green and Don Shula said, defensively, we're in the right positions. We've eliminated our mistakes we made earlier. Now we need to come up another level in terms of our emotion and our attitude. So our guys are there. We just need to execute and play harder football in the second half. Al?
In a very key game for both teams. The Dolphins trying to stay on top of the AFC East by their lonesome, and Kansas City still in contention for the AFC West title, but at least thinking about a playoff possibility as Parmalee gets run out of bounds by Mincy after a pickup of 7.
Free agent out of Ball State. We talked about him earlier. Had tremendous numbers there. As a senior, over 1,500 yards. Only 5'8", 215 pounds. But think of another great running back out of Ball State many years ago, Timmy Brown. He has a couple of NFL marks, but so well for the Philadelphia Eagles. Logan Spikes trying to make his mark.
Second and a long Bernie Parmalee gets it up to the 49-yard line, very close to a first down. Tracy Simeon making the tackle.
We've been taking a look at Keith Jackson from a lot of different directions tonight, both in receiving and the running game. Here he is doing the down block, comes down on Darren Mickle, the defensive end. That's about as good as you can do it for a tight end. Good crash block by Keith Jackson. He's had a couple drops tonight, and the crowd has gotten on him a little bit, but boy, you can't fault his run blocking. The ones we've looked at tonight have been very good. And a little bit short.
Third and that much. It enables Marino to have a personal conference with Gary Stevens.
The stadium is as pretty, if not prettier, than most stadiums in this league at night. It's an unusual configuration. It's almost square, and it is a pretty place. And Joe Robbie,
named after the late owner of the Dolphins. Third down and inches. And does Parmalee get those inches is the question.
Boy, Tracy Simeon was way into the backfield of the Dolphins. He comes in on the run blitz, and boy, he really he fouls this thing up to some degree.
And they will bring the chains in one more time. Dave Adolph, the Kansas City defensive coordinator.
And Kansas City, remember that goal line stand they had in the game last week against Denver? Denver had 4 shots from the 1-yard line and did not get into the end zone. So this team's feeling pretty good about its, about itself and about the way it plays short yardage. And boy, they are still short. They went from yay this to yay that. They went from about 6 inches to 3 inches.
And they're going to go. Miami's going to go. At least they're going to line up to go. And they could look, trying to perhaps draw them offside. But
they are 1 for 1 tonight on 4th down. And it was a key pass to Aaron Craver to keep a touchdown drive alive.
Can Don Shula here be saying something about what he thinks about his defense?
Bernie Parmalee is the tailback. And they give him the football, and he has the first down.
And very heady. That was a quick count by Marino. He doesn't call the play, but he gave it the count number. And Kansas City, I think, was anticipating. They'd been saying, well, you said, Al, let's stay outside. Now stay onside. And they got caught on that quick count. They were frozen at the line of scrimmage.
I think Don Shula just told us what he thinks is the most dominant unit on his football team.
You've got it.
If your defensive team is king, you punt that ball away in a 14-14 ball game. If you think your offense is number one, you let them try to win a ball game for you. That's what Shula just did there.
First and 10 at the 48-yard line. Marino, little hand throw going deep, and Carter knocks it down and almost picked it off. Good coverage on the play. Mark Ingram was the intended receiver.
Dale Carter closing fast on that with a good effort.
Ingram, who had 4 touchdown catches against the Jets, has not caught a ball tonight.
Ingram with a little move to the outside. Now watch Carter. What a superb athlete is. A little behind as Marino tried to squeeze it into the coverage, and Carter was right there, almost got the pick.
I'll tell you who else did a nice job was that guy 42, Charles Mincy. He started at the line of scrimmage and got all the way back downfield and got in on that thing.
Second and 10 at the 48. Marino fires it out to James Saxon.
Marino's pass complete to James Saxon.
And there's a marker down. Flag down to the secondary down at the 28-yard line.
Third and 4.
Illegal contact against the Chiefs, meaning contact after the 5-yard zone.
The dreaded 5-yard barrier.
One of the new rules this year. Don Shula on the competition committee happy with the way they worked out.
Contact. Number 59 on the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
Jaime Fields.
Yeah, the rule was always there. What's new is the emphasis. Let's take a look at it. Yes, that's well beyond. That's interference as well. The ball's in the air. You could take your pick there, but certainly illegal contact there on Tracy Rogers.
Automatic first down. 10:55 remaining third quarter.
Was that on Jaime Fields, 59?
Jaime Fields.
Okay. I stand corrected. There's the guy, Jaime Fields.
Game tied at 14. Parmalee is sent in motion. A short drop by Marino. He swings it out to Saxon. And Saxon breaks the tackle and picks up some extra yardage, takes it to the 36. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of 1995 Lincoln and Mercury automobiles. Beechwood aged Budweiser. It's always been true. This Bud's for you. And the Norelco razor for our closest shave ever.
Grinding a little time off the clock here are the Miami Dolphins. We've seen some drives in this game, and they are plodding along.
Second and 3. Look at that.
Pretty good percentages and pretty even down the line. Marino, though, 2 touchdowns and no interception.
There's Bernie Parmalee slicing through and coming in to make the stop for Kansas City. As you look at Bono, was Pella McDaniels.
Again, you just stacked everything up. And there was no place to run. And Steve Bono got things under control thus far. Kind of going like Marty Schottenheimer wanted it to go. And this guy, he would like to keep out of the game, able to play if something should happen to Bono. Or Marty Schottenheimer made a decision to go with him, but he would prefer not to.
3rd and 5 at the 38-yard line. Marino out of the gun. Marino to McDuffie. First down to the 27-yard line. O.J. McDuffie. And Irving Fryer is hurt and writhing down at the 19-yard line. Was rolling over.
Oh, he is in agony.
Did he get hit by Dale Carter or Mark Collins, the corner on that side? Looked like there was some contact downfield.
We'll check it out on the replay when we come back. Injury timeout. Irving Fryer is fine. We'll get to that in a second as play resumes. Miami at the 28-yard line. 1st and 10. With Ingram in motion. Marino drops it off for Craver. And he's close to a first down at the 19-yard line. Stopped by Dale Carter. There is Irving Fryer back in the game.
He had the wind knocked out of him. On a very... He just was hit when he should have been looking the other way. Dale Carter came up to play the completion on O.J. McDuffie, and he collided with Fryer, and I think Fryer was more concerned that he had a serious injury when he realized he just had the wind knocked out of him.
It's serious at first. He was rolling over and writhing, but he's fine. 2nd down and 1. And on the corner blitz, that was Minchie coming up to make the stop right at the line of scrimmage.
Minchie came from the next county.
Irving Spikes, the ball carrier. If you're sitting up in the stands, you could see it a mile away, but I'm not sure in the field you could.
It is so hard to time that thing out, to find yourself right at the line of scrimmage exactly when the ball is snapped, and that's exactly what Charles Minchie did. You could not have timed that any better.
Minchie seeing duty once again in place of David Whitmore, has now missed 4 games with a thigh injury.
3rd and 1. 7.5 to go. 3rd quarter. The game is tied at 14. Bernie Parmalee has the first down, and Minchie makes the tackle at the 13-yard line.
Another drive for Miami. Another drive for Miami, I might say.
They have had the ball the entire 3rd quarter here as we move down towards the 7-minute mark. Kansas City's offense hasn't played any football since sometime yesterday. This baby has it's been a long, cold spell for the Kansas City offense as The Dolphins are keeping this ball for the entire third quarter to this point. These guys got to be getting tired in the white jerseys.
First and 10 at the 13-yard line. Here's Parmalee swinging to the outside. Stays on his feet. Almost picks up the first. He broke a would-be tackle by Tracy Rogers.
Shades of Barry Sanders.
What an effort.
He got that hand down, kept his footing. Not the easiest thing to do on a natural surface like this.
Tell you one thing, Bernie Parmalee's going to want to get the tape of this game, Frank, and hear his name mentioned with Barry Sanders in the same sentence. But you're right. That's exactly what it looks like.
Barry Sanders looked to me.
He got 9.5 at 2nd and inches at the 4.
They would have been kicking the conversion had that been Barry Sanders.
He's down to 2 seconds. He's not going to get this play.
Parmalee lined up in the slot. There was some confusion as to the formation, and you can see it. You get to read it in Parmalee's eyes. 2nd and inches from the 4 when we come back. 6:05 left, third quarter. Game time.
How about Don's eyes?
As cool as your rag top, favorite hot spots. It's something with hometowns and everyone's class clown. It's always been true. This bus for you.
Just for you, a taste you'll find in no other beer at any price. Beechwood Aged Budweiser.
It's always been true.
Happy holidays, Dave.
Thank you.
There sure is a lot to do during the holidays. In fact, you could really work up an appetite.
Boy, I'm hungry.
Luckily, Wendy's has a Big Bacon Classic Combo. A quarter pound of fresh beef, 3 strips of bacon, cheese, lots of toppings, biggie fries, and a 20-ounce drink. A delicious meal.
Here goes. I love the holidays.
Try Wendy's Big Bacon Classic Combo.
Remember to watch Wendy's 3-Tour Challenge.
A great tournament benefiting a great cause, adoption.
An elite field of the world's top players tee off in 1994's Final Showdown. Coverage of the Johnny Walker World Championship begins Saturday on ABC.
Kansas City defensively now trying to hold on as the Dolphins have driven from their own 39 down to the 4. This year, 15 touchdown drives, consuming 10 or more plays. Only the 49ers have more. That's pretty good company. 2nd and inches at the 4-yard line. 6:05 to go in the third, and the game tied at 14. Marino on a roll. He's going to keep it. Touchdown, Marino. Flag down.
Whoa, he throws that baby about 40 rows up.
Marino, as you know, not the most mobile of quarterbacks. Defensive holding, touchdown Miami. Especially after the Achilles surgery, but he saw the opening and exploits it.
Well, it took him a while to get there. He really had no other choice. The call was against Mincy holding on the tight end Jackson, and Dan Marino.
When Dan Marino
on his own.
When Dan Marino runs the football into the end zone on you, you have had a defensive breakdown.
And it takes a while.
Kaboom, 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 he is there. Kansas City gets 3 plays at the start of this quarter. The Dolphins have been hammering away, and they get a touchdown on an absolutely superior drive.
Stoyanovich for the point after. Mincy was holding Jackson, Keith Jackson on the hold. That's only the 4th time this season Marino has run for a gain. It's his first touchdown of the season. And Miami has the lead. Well, through the years, Dan Marino, he'll go to the Hall of Fame for what he's done as a quarterback, but not what he's done on the ground. There it is. His average measured in inches, 17 inches. There it is tonight.
Tough to get a touchdown of out of 3 rushes for no yards.
Yeah, but he's done it. That's the 8th rushing touchdown of his spectacular career. 2 of those came as a rookie.
Steve Young and Bobby Douglas, he is not.
Right. Just for comparative purposes, he's averaging 0.5 in his career per rush. Young this year, averaging 4.9 yards per rush.
Oh, I guess we'll still let him play, though.
Yeah, I think so. 21-14, Miami by 7 with 5:57 to go in the third. Stoyanovich sends it down to John Vaughn. Vaughn at the 4-yard line. Moles up to the 32-yard line. Tackled there by Muhammad Oliver, number 20. And Kansas City will have the ball for the second time in the half. They were 3 and out the first time. The Stars and Stripes Goodyear blimp hovering above North Miami, providing the scenics tonight. Joe Robbie Stadium, the site of the Super Bowl on the 29th of January. Last time the Super Bowl was held here, well, that was the San Francisco-Cincinnati beauty that was won by a Montana to Taylor pass at the end. Marcus Allen picks up about 6, loses the football, but after Brian Cox dislodged it, Allen looks around and the officials say he was down.
Ooh, there's the hit in the strip by Cox, and the ball is out. And he's ruled down, but the ball bounced out of bounds anyway.
And the ball bounced out of bounds just about the original line of scrimmage, so it's 2nd down and 10 at the 31. Allen again. Marcus up to the 37-yard line. Cox and Beavers in on the tackle. 3rd and 4. Marty Schottenheimer's had a very good head coaching career with Cleveland and Kansas City. It's been 9 seasons since one of his teams lost 3 games in a row, a fate that will befall Kansas City if they lose tonight.
Number 76 is John Alt on the right of your screen.
What a job.
He gets hit from behind by Marcus Allen, but not until he'd already knocked this guy about 4 yards off the ball.
And Alt already has a bad back.
Yes.
3rd down and 4.
He didn't need that.
And the catch is made at the 50 by Marcus Allen. 1st down, Kansas City.
So good working out of the backfield. That time he came in motion, Marcus Allen did. Turned it upfield. Bono with the slide rollout. Allen took it down about 7 or 8 yards. 1st down yardage. Broke it to the outside, and Bono hit him in stride. Bono on the move. Now Allen on the break. Gives Bono an easy target. So good working into the pass patterns, and a good call by Paul Hackett.
1st and 10 at the 50-yard line. Greg Hill is in there as the running back. Bono throws into coverage. It is intercepted by Gene Atkins. Picking up blockers. Laterals the ball. The official falls down. Troy Vincent takes it. On a wild and wacky play, Troy Vincent's going to go all the way for the touchdown.
Atkins is down on the field. Whether he's celebrating, I don't know. But he better be so happy that worked. That is not a Don Shula type effort.
Yeah, I agree with you. When he first flipped that ball back to Vincent, I thought it was a mistake. Vincent almost lost about 4 or 5 yards right after the flip by Atkins, and Atkins again is still down on the field.
Let's go back to the first mistake, though. Another poorly thrown ball by Bono into double coverage, trying to go to Willie Davis. Atkins coming over from the free safety to help J.B. Brown. Picks it off.
He stayed in
bounds there. Cox with a block for him.
But look at this.
Just a little out
He's
there.
out of bounds.
The referee was caught looking at Cox to see if Cox had clipped or not. Did not see that he had stepped out of bounds. Here comes the flip.
The official gets flipped as well.
This is as wild a play as we've seen in a while, but again, it did appear right there that Gene Atkins stepped out of bounds. It looked like his right foot came down on the line, but it matters not.
And Stoyanovich will try to tack on the extra point.
If you're from Kansas City and you've been opposed to instant replay, your friends will let you know about this one.
Crazy play. A lot of ironies involved in that play. Dan talking about replay. One of the things Don Shula would love to see reinstituted is instant replay. Not for that particular play, though, because he was the beneficiary. But Gene Atkins stepped out of bounds. It should be back at the 40-yard line and would have been had the replay rule been in effect. Meanwhile, Dave Hamilton was the official who went down, the umpire, but he's okay. And Aaron Pointer was the man who was closest to the play, the head linesman who was looking up when Atkins' foot was out of bounds. The kick is taken at the 10-yard line by John Vaughn, who busts one up the middle. And John Vaughn is out in front. And John Vaughn will go all the way for a touchdown. No flags. And until a few seconds ago, neither team had run a return back of any form. Kickoff, punt, interception, fumble for a touchdown this season, and now you get them back-to-back.
John Vaughn found an opening. He had been hesitating on his earlier returns tonight. He had a couple of them. Started to say something about it. This time he found himself a gap, just burst through it, and was gone. Third-year man out of your alma mater, Dan, Michigan.
Vaughn ran one back earlier this season as a Seahawk and then was picked up 3 weeks ago. Lynn Elliott for the point after. He goes 91 yards on that run back, and what a game this is. With 3:39 left in the third.
A couple of zany plays.
I think we have a few replays coming
Yes, I think maybe we do. That was a combination of good running by... Here, let's go back. There's the interception by Atkins. He stays in there, but again, take a look here. Right there where it's out, look at Pointer there on the left. He's looking back to the play, to the block made by Brian Cox, and is not looking at the feet of Gene Atkins. You can understand how that can happen. You can't see everything at once.
Officials.
And there goes Hamilton to the ground after the hit. And then this is just breakaway speed by Troy Vincent. You tell me that this guy's had a reconstructed knee, which is what he had.
Steve Bono didn't even get a hand on him.
Yeah.
And then John Vaughn finds an opening, gets a big block right at the point of the opening and turns it on. He's a big man, 5'9", 203 pounds, a lot of speed. Runs away from the field. Two of the biggest plays we've had this year on Monday night, back-to-back.
Well, the wild thing is that only 3 teams in the league, these two and Denver, had not had a touchdown on any sort of a return all season, and then it happens back-to-back. A fumble return and a kickoff return, and the Dolphins had gone 302 consecutive games, an NFL record, without allowing a touchdown on a kickoff return. 1975, Harold Hart of Oakland, the Oakland Raiders, bringing one back against Miami. Amazing.
Well, let's just sit back here and take a deep breath. Yeah, this is... Boy, you talk about how quickly elation becomes frustration. The Dolphins celebrating that Atkins to Vincent return, and then all of a sudden it disappears on them.
We got to look at Steve Bono. He has thrown 3 times into double coverage. 2 of them have been picked off. The third one should have been.
Gene Atkins had radar lock on that ball. He saw that for 15 yards. I don't know what Bono was looking, what he was looking at.
Here's the kick by Elliott. This is O.J. McDuffie. And he is taken down to the 25-yard line by Monty Groh. Now, if you joined us late, Joe Montana is in uniform and can play. And with Bono's problems on the last couple of drives, you're thinking about, well, what's Schottenheimer going to do? But Marty made it very clear. He said, my dream scenario, win the game continue to rest Joe and then play him next Sunday against Houston?
You know, this offense is so precise. You have to feel that Bono has just been making a bad read. When you see double coverage, you don't throw to it. There's always an alternate safe receiver to go to, and 3 times Bono has thrown into that coverage. 2 times it's been picked.
First down Miami at the 25-yard line with Ingram in motion. And Bernie Parmalee takes it up to the 30 with 3:25 remaining in the third quarter. The Dolphins tonight, first time they had the ball, it was 3 and out, but then 2 long touchdown marches, then a punt, then the half ended on 1 play, and then a 61-yard march for a touchdown. So
you notice
81 and 61 for Marino.
You notice none of those are ending in turnovers.
Nope.
It's been an error-free night tonight for the Miami Dolphins offensively.
Second down and 5 from the 30-yard line. Marino guns it to the near side, and Irving Fryers makes the catch and gets bounced out of bounds at the 42.
Well, it's hard to fault the coverage. Irving Fryers having a great year, by the way. We've already documented that, but when Marino releases that ball, there's so much on it, and yet, as a former receiver, I tell you, it's an easy ball to catch. Dale Carter, with pretty good coverage, makes a break to the ball, but the ball is there and has a lot on it, yet an easy ball to handle for a receiver.
Where does a receiver go to prepare to play for the Miami Dolphins? What do you do? Catch it from one of those automatic machines that throws it at you about 90 or 100 miles an hour?
Gardner got away with a face mask on that last play as Bernie Parmalee slips out of the backfield and takes it up to the 48-yard line. Nice night for Bernie, who came on with an explosion early on and then sort of retreated to real life in the last couple of weeks, but he's picked it up again tonight.
Well, he's been getting good blocking up front. A pass blocking line that really is known for that, but really there's no reason why they shouldn't be more accomplished at running the football. Webb, Sims, Dellenbach, Widener, Heller.
And particularly on that left side with Sims and Webb, 2 of the best.
Second and 4, a minute and a half to play in the third quarter. Miami up by 7. End around to McDuffie. And fights for a first down and should have it. Tackled by Jaime Fields.
That's a smart call by the Dolphins. I tried to do that a couple times a game in different forms, try to get the ball into O.J. McDuffie's hands. You not only have a guy who can catch it as a receiver, but obviously he's a skilled and gifted return man. And I would try to get the football tucked under his arm as often as I possibly could. And if it has to be in reversing the ball, either from the wide receiver or the slot position, I'd do it.
And Kansas City is a tough pursuing team. That slows it down.
From the 47-yard line, here's Parmalee. Exploits a hole. Bernie Parmalee inside the 30 and out in front. Touchdown, Parmalee.
Boy, this is unbelievable.
Boy, did he blow through that hole.
He is either a lot faster than I thought, or the Kansas City secondary is a lot slower than I thought.
We talked about just a moment ago about the blocking on the left side, but Burt Widener pulling from right guard, key block to spring. Bernie Parmalee just exploded through that hole.
Keep an eye on Saxon, number 22. There's a block.
There's Webb, Jackson, Widener, everybody. But look at Bernie Parmalee run away. That's William White. Nobody gained an inch on this guy on about a 40-yard run.
A 108-yard night for a smiling Bernie Parmalee. His career long rush of 47 right there.
We were talking about it earlier, Al. He had 150 yards against the Raiders early in the season, but he really had plateaued, and he has come to life tonight.
Undrafted, Parmalee out of Ball State in Muncie, Indiana. Stoyanovich for the point after. So in this critical game for both teams with 36 seconds remaining in the third, the Dolphins answer the long Vaughn run back with another touchdown and go up again by 14.
An extended weekend at Bernie's here. Look at this speed by Parmalee. Well executed play by the Miami Dolphins, and this third quarter has given us a little bit of everything.
That called anything for Kansas City there. Secondary up very late. And inside, no chance.
And how big a plus is it for the Miami Dolphins to get a touchdown where Dan Marino didn't have to do it? You know, he's got so many touchdowns in that passing arm of his, and any help that you give Marino in the running game is just such a monstrous plus. And you see that Parmalee with that run goes over 100 yards.
Boy, and it's get-together time over in the Kansas City side of this field. They fail 35-21, and this could be their football season. They will not disappear mathematically, but they will be in trouble.
Well, to follow up one of the things we talked about at the half, if they go to 7-7, those 7-7 teams in the AFC are going to need help apart from the Buffalo Bills, who can win their 2 games and go to the playoffs, barring a Kansas City Raider tie in that last game. And as I mentioned, there hasn't been a tie in the NFL in 5 years.
And who among us would bet against the Buffalo Bills?
Right. That's the 10-headed monster.
Hey, you got to admire their tenaciousness and their determination. They'll be the last group of guys that I ever count out. Well, let's see if we can run this one back. There's time for a couple more scores here before the end of the quarter.
Well, here comes Vaughn on the run at the 10. And this time they bunch him up at the 27-yard line. 26 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Steve Bono started his career with the Vikings after playing collegiately at UCLA. He was a Pittsburgh Steeler during the players' strike in '87, made 3 starts there. 5 other starts for the 49ers in '91 when Montana and Young were hurt. And his second start tonight for Kansas City.
Turned it around up in Minnesota for a while, too, didn't he?
Yep. Early on in his career. At the 27-yard line, first down. Bono throws. Catch made up at the 37. J.J. Burt. It should be enough for a first down. They'll mark it at the 38.
Times flashes of brilliance on the part of Bono. Good play fake there, freezing the cornerback. Burton with a good move to the outside and a perfect delivery by Bono.
Unfortunately, it's been marred by some other flashes of poorly thrown balls into stiff coverage.
That is the time for the 3rd quarter expiring. And so Miami leads 35-21 as we go to the 4th. And we'll return with Monday Night Football after this from our ABC station. In Miami, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Lynn Swan. A look at Derek Thomas. That defensive unit shredded in the 3rd quarter. And Miami leading 35-21 as we start the 4th. Kansas City 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. And here's Marcus Allen taking it up to the 45 for a pickup of 7, and a flag is down to the line of scrimmage.
I think they're going to call Derek Walker, the tight end, for holding. That flag was thrown right at him.
Jeff Cross down.
That's Walker right there, number 82. How do you know that?
Little birdie whispered in my ear.
Holding.
All right, let's take a look at this thing. There's Walker, 82. And that's pretty much of a toss down. And amazingly, it was Jeff Cross. Al, you are know all, see all, be all.
Mr. Omniscient. Whatever that means.
I have no clue.
From the 28-yard line on 1st and 20. Pass a little low and dropped by Bennett, and that wasn't going very far anyway. 2nd down.
Well, another one that could have been thrown a lot better than that. It was thrown low, had too much on it. That's just a little lob passer. And it was a well set up screen.
That was a drill.
You're trying to help your back get into position to move behind the blockers and not hindering.
Looks a lot easier to catch in slow motion.
Second and 20. Bono, almost picked. Vincent was there. Davis couldn't hold on. Troy Vincent, who's already scored a touchdown tonight on the back end of the Gene Atkins interception.
Well, Dan just commented on it a little earlier. Coming back from full reconstruction knee surgery, heard it last December, operated on the 23rd. He's got it all back to it, 100%. Watch him drive on this ball. That's a terrific move, even though he missed it. He is physically back, and what a fine cornerback he is. 3rd down and 20.
They're going to call the false start.
We're hearing whistles. This play never happened.
The tight end on the far side moved, but got set. But nonetheless, the official called the false start.
The Crouch allowed you. Didn't know whether it was a whistle or not.
Before the snap, 45 false start on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That is Jimmy Johnson.
Who's going to make this big announcement this week.
Right. A very popular figure here in Miami these days.
Top of the screen, there he is, number 45. He's going to sit back. That's all it takes. Although he's allowed to get up and move back. A tight end is allowed that type of motion, but you can't simulate the beginning of a play, and that's what he did there.
3rd and 25 in the opening minute of the 4th quarter. Miami leading 35-21. They have to get to the 49 to convert. Hill makes the catch, tackled at the 27, 4th and a mile. Michael Stewart makes the tackle.
And this defensive unit has gone from boos to loud cheers.
To toast. How quickly it can happen.
From roast to toast.
Next week, the penultimate weekend in the 1994 season, the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night against the Saints from New Orleans next Monday night, and then we'll wrap it up the night after Christmas with the 49ers at Minnesota. Well, Don looking a little bit more relaxed as Louis Aguiar floats one. Short kick, but it takes a nice Kansas City bounce. And what would have been a very ordinary kick turns into a pretty good one as it rolls into 26, 48 yards. Miami with the ball and up by 2 TDs. There's your lineup tomorrow night, Tuesday night, always a big night on ABC. Barbara Walters presents the 10 most fascinating people of 1994. That wraps up tomorrow night's schedule, and then Wednesday, Ellen DeGeneres. Great show. Wednesday night, right here on ABC. 4th quarter. 13:31 remaining. Miami with the ball up by 14 as Dan Marino begins his drive from the 26-yard line. And Bernie Parmalee squirts up to the 30 for a gain of 4. We touched on it earlier with the running back situation. Terry Kirby was going to be the starter, but he was hurt. Mark Higgs was their leading rusher last year. He was waived. And Bernie Parmalee, a special teams performer over the past couple of years, has now become the man out of the backfield for Don Shula's Dolphins.
And of course, another big loss, worked a lot out of that backfield, was Keith Byers. Gone for the season. He was so productive, not only running the ball, but as a receiver.
Quick to remind me tonight that Ohio State beat Michigan.
2nd and 7, and Bernie up to the 40-yard line. William White makes the tackle. Bernie Parmalee.
If he could, we'd just like to send our condolences and express our regrets to the family and friends of Pat Haggerty, one of the great NFL officials for over 28 years. He died this past Friday. He's home in Denver, and for his family and all of his friends, we'd just like to express our condolences to you. He was a wonderful man.
Sure was. Worked 3 different Super Bowls and a real fixture in the NFL officiating families. So for all the Haggertys, our thoughts are with you.
Outstanding referee through the years. Very consistent. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line as Parmalee picks up about 2. Well, Don Shula tonight approaching another milestone when you factor in those postseason wins he's had. Last year he went passed George Halas and became the winningest coach in history. But on a regular season basis alone, there it is. George Halas won 318 games. And notice that if Shula wins tonight, Halas and Shula will have won and lost the same number of games. Halas was involved in 31 ties, and Shula, because of overtime, just 6.
Well, that and the fact that they used to have such low-scoring games.
Right. 2nd and 7. You look into the face mask of Dan Saliamua as Marino retreats, and he hits O.J. McDuffie, spinning and darting and dancing his way to the 36 and a first down.
O.J. McDuffie, almost every time he catches the ball is for a first down. He had 25 receptions coming into tonight's game. 21 were for first downs. He's had 2 first down receptions tonight, I believe.
And this is what will, over the years, continue to make him such a dangerous threat. It's after the catch. These types of moves here are instinctive. Look at that spin to get away from Simeon, and then back upfield and takes the big hits from Rogers, from Carter. No, that's the kind of stuff that afterwards, I'm sure even he to himself goes, why'd I do that?
Playing like a first-round draft pick, which he is, out of Penn State a year ago.
Bernie Parmalee playing a little bit better than a free agent out of Ball State. Bernie was not drafted, and Miami expressed some casual interest in him, but he sat out a year, went to work for UPS in Muncie, Indiana, and at a bowling alley, and then got a shot. He comes limping off here.
He's shipping himself to the sidelines right now.
But a real storybook situation for Bernie Parmalee.
Bernie might want to be making a trip to the bank pretty soon here and depositing a few more Dolphin dollars if this keeps up.
Bernie Parmalee trying to shake it off, having a spectacular night. 127 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground and 1 on a pass reception.
I don't quite know what the injury was. I think he was more concerned that it could have been a serious one, and it obviously turned out it wasn't.
2nd and 8. Irving Spikes is in the game. And the fake by Marino to Spikes. And then Dan floats one incomplete, intended for Irving Fryer. He makes the acquaintance of one Neil Smith.
Yeah, and Dan said, that's me, Irving, not you. One of the rare throws that is not catchable.
And keep in mind that this is a guy who physically is not 100% back from the Achilles tendon surgery of a year ago. Dan Marino is not as mobile and as active as he was. He wasn't all that mobile and active to begin with. So it's kind of scary when you look at those numbers to think that Dan Marino is probably still only about 90% or so.
3rd down and 8. And a little shovel pass. Lee Gross-Pup lives. Aaron Craver off to the races. Inside the 10 and run out of bounds at the 6. William White shoved him out.
Oh, he was headed for the Palouse.
He was off to the races. The old shovel.
Oh, and for Marty, you can see this one getting totally away from them now. Miami doing pretty much what they want offensively. The little shovel to the inside, designed to come inside the block of Keith Sims, but instead Carver saw the outside, and Craver rather, and made the right move.
What Sims did was he locked up on Neil Smith and really gave Craver the option of going either way, and that's a pretty good look of Dan Marino having to take a timeout.
On 1st and goal with 9:11 left in regulation, Frank said the game slipping away for Kansas City and the season as well. Well, Marty Schottenheimer's teams, and those include the Browns in the mid to late 80s and now the Kansas City Chiefs. Since 1986, 562 quarters he has coached, and the 3rd quarter was the first time since '86 a team of Schottenheimers has allowed 3 touchdowns in a quarter in a regular season game.
Well, Montana taking it all in from the sideline.
Well, the Dolphins now trying to apply the coup de grace at the 6-yard line on 1st and goal, leading by 14. And taking it down halfway to the goal line is Irving Spikes, picking up 3. White and Smith in on the stop.
Neil Smith with those bad hands Both of them have been injured over the course of the season, still trying to strip that ball out of there.
Pretty tough to do without a thumb. Well, how about Spikes meeting William White here? And Spikes, he keeps his old deal going forward. Look at this. Boy, looks like White stands him up and sends him back, but Spikes, good leg strength, drives forward for a couple more yards. Irving, Spikes. Great name for a running back, isn't it?
Yep.
Be even better for a linebacker.
Second and goal. The play clock is down to 1. And Irving gets thrown down by Darren Mickle.
He almost got spiked.
Let's think if his first name was Lee. Lee Spike. All right, okay.
Yes.
I'll try it later.
It's a little late.
Well, Irving is coming out here on 3rd down and goal. There he is, the
try that earlier.
Rookie from Northeast Louisiana. Aaron Craver comes in. 3rd and goal from the 6. And an inside handoff to Craver. He can only get to the 4. So the Dolphins had a chance to put the finishing touch on, and they're going to have to settle for 3 here. Sally Alua makes the tackle.
How about the unguided missile there, Charles Mincy?
Mincy looked like, he did look like a missile.
It was. That's unfair to say unguided. He was guided. He knew right where he was going, and that's the way you support. That's the way you come in and try to make something happen. Who takes the timeout here?
It is 4th down, and the Chiefs
training staffs are out on the field.
Yep. Bernie Kukar says an official's timeout. 7:28 left in regulation. Kansas City took that last timeout to make sure they've got the right people on the field, and Miami's going to attempt a field goal here.
This must be a good feeling for Miami when you look at the total yards here by half, because this is really the exact opposite of what happened to them last week in their game against Buffalo. It was the huge second half by Buffalo that did them in, and here now it's Miami's turn to turn in a big second half.
More than that, they're moving right into at least the wild card playoff position.
This is a 22-yard field goal attempt, a little more than an extra point, and that puts them up by 17. Officially in the books as a 21-yarder. And the Miami Dolphins lead 38-21. And well, the Dolphins trying to win the AFC East, but you know, we touched on it at the top. Kansas City, with, it's a cliche, but sense of urgency applies with this team. A fully flowered team with older guys and veterans, and this was going to be Kansas City's year, and now they're in danger of not even getting to postseason play.
And it's a very real danger, and you're going to see it in the last couple of weeks, a sense of urgency, but you know, sometimes urgency translates into a tightness by players, that when so much is riding on every play and every little mistake becomes so crucial that some teams are frozen by that, and Kansas City right now is going to have to fight that here in the last couple of weeks.
Well, they have Houston at home, and then they have to go to the Raiders, and the Raiders are playing well.
But they're going to be 7-7 if they lose, and they will need help to get to the playoffs. Even if they win those 2 games, other circumstances have to evolve to get them in.
And as we said, Miami is at least in as a wild card, and if they win one of their last 2 games, either against Indianapolis or Detroit, they will win the Eastern Division of the AFC.
Again, 4 of those 9 qualify. Pittsburgh and Cleveland already in. San Diego leading the West. Miami with a victory here would be 9-5. The Raiders in New England in pretty good shape. And then you'd have Kansas City, Buffalo, and Denver all at 7-7. And those 3 teams at 7-7, 2 of them, KC and Denver, would need help. Buffalo would control its own fate by winning its 2 games. Again, barring an LA-KC tie.
And the way Kansas City started this season, winning their first 3 ball games, the thought that after 14 games, that even making the playoffs was in peril is unthinkable. It was unthinkable then, and I know right now that shock is prevalent in Kansas City.
Well, the fallout of free agency has been the extension of parity of people knocking. I think it has done an awful lot for fans of the National Football League. Their teams, so many of them, stayed alive and are staying alive in the playoff hunt.
Staying alive.
kicking, and it's fielded at the 3-yard line by Vaughn. Back 91 yards. Doesn't have much room to maneuver, but turns it into a decent run back out to the 34-yard line.
Well, 38-21. We have to see some big-time thinking on the part of the Chiefs. They're running out of ticks on the clock.
Again, Montana, if you joined us late, sprained his foot against Seattle. Didn't dress last week, though he was available to go back and get dressed, and he was listed as the emergency quarterback, the third QB. Can play tonight if needed, but Schottenheimer wants to keep him out if he possibly can. And he has to this point at the 34-yard line, first down, Kansas City. And this is Kimball Anders getting to the 40-yard line.
Well, I think you can write a Joe Montana appearance off tonight unless some points are put on the board by Kansas City and we get a little closer to Miami, and something should happen to Bono. About the only time we would see him.
2nd and 4. Bono throws underneath to Anders. He fights his way to the 46, and that's a first down with 6:45 remaining. Hollier makes the tackle. Kansas City has to go without a huddle.
First down.
And the catch is made by Burton, who's able to get out of bounds.
Interesting. This is what this offense is all about. The little high percentage passes, the little short game. You get to the receiver and let them run the ball, and we have not seen much of it. We've seen the bomb hurt Kansas City tonight with the 2 interceptions off of Bono in the end zone, one that should have been intercepted. But there's almost a desperation to the offense early on in the game, and now they're going back to the Kansas City offense.
2nd and 5. Bono guns one incomplete behind J.J. Burton. Well, if the Dolphins hold on and win it, they control their fate or destiny, however you want to describe it. They'd be a game in front of New England, and they'll have a lot of breathing room too, because if Miami and the Patriots wind up in a tie, Miami wins the tiebreaker by virtue of their 2 wins over New England. So in effect, it's like having a 2-game lead. 3rd down and 5 at the 50-yard line. And there's a flag down as the Dolphins jump short of the first down on the catch by Allen with a marker.
Tackle by Frankie Smith. We have a flag on the play.
Offside, Miami. So Bernie Kukar will march. He's being told they'll be that much shy of the first down.
That's about the size of that cockroach that just ran across.
Can you believe that? You saw it too?
On the defense, number 53.
I thought it was an alligator.
5-yard penalty will repeat 3rd down.
I was going to put a leash on it.
Well, you never know what comes through this booth, and
well,
those lizards just did.
Look who just dropped by.
Right from the Okefenokee swamp.
Yeah.
3rd and
we need the Orkin man.
45. And this is Kimball Anders picking up the first down, which is fine, but they got to step it up in a hurry because they're going to need 3 scores down by 17.
Somewhere along the line, can almost be assured that Bono's going to try to air one out, probably to Burton. He represents most of the speed.
He goes to the far side and overthrows Billy Davis. It'll be 2nd and 10. Miami will go to Indianapolis next week, and then they'll close it out here on Christmas night against the Detroit Lions. A lot of very interesting games over the next couple of weekends coming up.
That Christmas night game, that's an ESPN game, correct? That thing could have a whole lot riding on it.
2nd and 10 at the 42. And that's incomplete. Oh, and Marcus Allen gets taken for a ride by Hollier, but he gently Places him back down on the turf, and it will be third down.
And all of a sudden, Bono is putting a whole lot of air under the football. It's sailing all over the place. Overthrows Davis on the sideline, tosses that one over Marcus Allen. That's Matt Blunden on the right, number 14.
There's a lot of Matt, isn't it? 6'6",
yeah,
230-pounder.
Third down and 10.
I guess Derek Walker again, the tight end.
That's trick for him.
Start. Number 82 on the offense prior to the snap. The 5-yard penalty, still third down.
But one of the to watch if you're head coach.
Yeah, and one of the good guys in the National Football League, Marty Schottenheimer. He is one of the good people in this game. He learned how to coach the right way. He has had really excellent, remarkable success over his career. You can't judge everything a coach does by whether or not he won a Super Bowl. Marty Schottenheimer has coached as well as anybody in this league over the last 10 years.
Third and 15. And it is incomplete. Incomplete, not intercepted. Chris Green coming up with the football.
And we're close to having a little explosion over here.
4th and 15.
Number 90 there is Marco Coleman, former All-American linebacker at Georgia Tech that's been converted to a defensive end here in Miami. And there are 5 minutes and 3 seconds left in this ball game, and I hope that these guys are able to keep their tempers in check down the home stretch here.
What you just mentioned, Dan, is probably one of the problems that Miami's had defensively, and Coleman really was, like you said, an All-American linebacker, forced to go to the defensive end position.
Right.
4th and 15. Trying to keep it going, and the catch is made at the 28 by J.J. Burton, and that's enough for a first down.
Boy, and what a catch that was. You got to get the ball to Burton somewhere. If you need 17 points to get back into this game, he's the one that can explode for you.
18-yard pickup. They stay alive. 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. They swing it out here to Eric Martin. He steps out of bounds at the 24-yard line. The 2nd down and 5.
Well, this crowd starts to thin out here at Joe Robbie Stadium, but that's only because they have left a little early and left very happy. They are seeing their Dolphins turn in a performance that has kind of put to rest the December swoon of a year ago. They won a game they had to win, and they won it, and appears to be winning it pretty convincingly here tonight.
Bono under pressure, floats one incomplete.
Well, they had a mini swoon going this December, too. They had lost 3 of the last 4.
And that's why they have kind of cemented it a little bit, put it away with this thing here.
It's not in the minds of the fans. I think some of the players were concerned. I think we put it right to Don last night when we talked with him, and you just don't know what to do with it. How do you turn it around when it starts to happen?
Well, you can say all you want to, Frank and Al, as you well know. Oh, last year was last year. You know, this is this year. We don't think about that. Baloney, you don't think about it. Nobody forgets a collapse of that magnitude.
3rd down and 5, and the papers and the radio stations won't let you forget it. Here's Anders taking it to the 20-yard line. And
Chris Green there, number 42, he's arguing that some of the Kansas City offensive linemen came in late and got some late shots. You have to admire Kansas City. These guys are staying with it. They see their backs stood up. They're going to come in and try to help out. That's the way the game's played.
They're going to get a measurement.
Ball came loose at the end.
They might have blown the whistle at this point. If they hadn't blown it, they should have blown it.
I think that's a whistle that's blown because of forward progress. When the guy has stood up and it appears that he has no chance of breaking out, that whistle will be blown.
That's John Sandusky, who is the assistant head coach.
Started his football career at the Cleveland Browns. Don Shula. They've been together almost ever since.
On 1st and 10, the catch is made by Derek Walker, but Walker can't get out of bounds. Clock keeps rolling.
When Don Shula had to miss practice because of his Achilles tendon surgery on Friday morning, it's John Sandusky who takes over. He is really an extension of Don Shula and has been just a fine offensive line coach in this league for decades.
2nd and 6. And Bono throws into the end zone, and Davis makes the catch for the touchdown. So Kansas City still breathing. That makes it 38-27. They still need 2 more scores, regardless of what they do here in terms of the extra point attempt, whether they want to go for 1 or 2.
Really no need to go for 2.
They're going to need a touchdown and a field goal to tie if they go for 1.
Well, 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions still leave them a point short.
Frankie Smith on the coverage in what appeared to be some kind of a zone. It certainly wasn't what you would expect from goal line coverage.
Lynn Elliott boots it through, so that makes the score 38-28 with 3:26 remaining in regulation, and the Chiefs were able to execute that drive without using a timeout, but they used one earlier in the half, and so they have 2 and a 2-minute warning and a probable onside kick attempt coming up here.
Boy, a good look at that catch there by Willie Davis. Craig Janoff, our director, and our crew have been all over this thing tonight. Nice job, guys and gals.
Willie Davis, and what a thrill he and Montana gave us those weeks ago when we were out in Denver. A 30-28 victory in the last 8 seconds for Kansas City over the Broncos.
You know, lost in that moment, I think, was the fantastic job that Davis did on that touchdown catch. Everybody will always remember Montana, but Willie made the catch running along the goal line and then had to go back in. And I was talking to Montana about that before the game tonight, and Joe said Davis was my 3rd option on that play. I was looking for Tracy Green, the tight end, and then somebody else, and then there was Davis, and that's typical Montana.
Well, the Denver defensive team will love to hear you say that.
Yeah. It's a scoop.
To sort of moan.
Yeah.
3rd option.
3rd option.
Well, Denver, what a turnaround by them.
Yeah.
Talked a lot about various teams tonight, but they've hung in there, still alive.
Now, what do you think of this?
This ball takes a different bounce on this natural surface. You're trying to get 2 bounces and then the 3rd bounce to take it up in the air. And these kickers are amazing at pulling this off.
Well, you've got Lynn Elliott.
This looks like the start of the land rush in Oklahoma, John.
There will be some collision.
And here they go. And it goes out of bounds.
Well, that ball didn't go 10 yards.
So that's not pretty. Like I said, they're so good at it.
Kurt Schottenheimer is the special teams coach, Marty's brother.
We have a short free kick out of bounds. By rule, it is a 5-yard penalty and a re-kick.
And then you can do it one more time.
Yeah, and that's the last time.
And that's it. Yeah, that can happen once.
See, I don't think this penalty, to tell you the truth, is severe enough.
Yeah.
Because you retain possession of the football, and I think that's right. I'm not sure that's really what everybody had in mind when they set this thing up like that.
And you're right, because they didn't really have it in mind, because if you do it again, then the other team's going to get the football.
Here, you did the first one so poorly that you get a 5-yard penalty, and if you do this one well, and you get possession, there really is such a little penalty that it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't mean it's wrong, because it doesn't make sense to me.
It was late in the game. It needs to be discussed.
Here we go again. It has to go 10 yards.
Get up.
Ooh, but it's taken by the Dolphin at the 35-yard line. And off to the races, and taking it down to the 2-yard line is Tyrone Braxton.
Oh, a special teams coach nightmare.
Speaking of the Denver Broncos, the longtime Bronco comes up with a big play. That's where the ball did take the good hop. It took the big hop. It's just that everybody in a white shirt chose to run right by Braxton. The first wave went past him, and the first wave ended up being the only wave. Danon Hughes, the receiver, got a hand on him. But those guys are there for their hands, not their tackling ability. Heads up play by Braxton.
First and goal for Miami. They lead by 10. Irving Spikes is the tailback in this test. James Saxton is the fullback. They give it to Irving. And it's another Miami touchdown.
About 7.8 for style points there.
Waving Spikes with his second rushing touchdown of the season.
Forward somersault.
Great look at it here. Talk about coming right at you. Don't flinch.
Tracy Rogers, 52, trying to get in there.
Talk about sacrificing your body for a touchdown. Kenny Wolf.
We did it.
Producing this telecast, giving us how many different angles do we have down there?
Our Hall of Fame producer.
Something tells me we probably had about 5 or 6 more angles on that.
Stojanovic boots it through. It's the biggest point output for Miami this season as they put 45 up on the board.
But you know, here we go. Here's another one. What's this? Is this 5? This might be number 5 on.
Well, this might be the best one. Simeon being taken on there by
look at that.
Saxon.
Hey, that's good looking stuff.
Simeon, the only one who could have stopped that, and Saxon hammered into him.
Well, we haven't seen this one yet either.
Yeah.
All right. You got another one? Come on, Kenny and Craig. Come on. You got more?
You got a Polaroid down there?
That's another one. No, I dare you to come up with one more. I dare you to come up with one more.
Yep.
Oh, well, that is a slam dunk on your part.
Accounting just called. They want to know how many tape machines we have down there.
Obviously a bunch. I know you got one more down there. You're holding out on me.
From the blip.
The blip.
I think it's just fascinating
Come on.
the night after the crew party that they could find all those.
Come on, guys. Your integrity. There's another one there. We just got the half line on the left. Folks at home, if you don't know what it looks like down on our truck, Craig Janoff, our director, and Kenny Wolf, our producer, are sitting in front of a bank of monitors with whole bunches of cameras tied into tape machines, and they take their their pick, and that's kind of what the smorgasbord that sits in front of them every single play of the game.
There they are. They're watching the Letterman show.
How about those boys in the tape truck?
Wrong network.
Stoyanovic's pick is taken by John Vaughn, who's at a workout and a half tonight. Well, as long as it's our only Miami, well, before we do that, the Wendy's Sweet Tour Challenge coming your way Saturday, featuring stars of the PGA Senior Tour and the LPGA Tour, and Norman and Nicholas and Nancy Lopez up there. And then from Jamaica, the Johnny Walker World Championship coverage this Saturday and Sunday right here on ABC.
Now, is that Johnny Walker right there?
Well, do they play Scotch foursomes down there?
No, I think that's
Freddie Couples.
Okay. From the 32-yard line. Bono throws, and that's incomplete, intended for J.J. Burton.
Did you see where about 6 weeks ago Fred Couples had a hole-in-one in that one tournament, and that's his first hole-in-one ever?
That was
Kapalua. That's where I was on Kapalua.
That was a surprise.
Now, how about that? Now, every amateur golfer in the world who's never had a hole-in-one. I used to take solace in the fact that Fred Couples never had a hole-in-one, and now it's gone.
Well, now he's tied with Debbie Deardorff for a hole-in-one, right?
That's true. That's the worst part of it all when your wife has more holes in one than you do.
Second and 10. The catch is made by J.J. Burton.
Well, that's the price I pay. She's a better golfer than I.
I'll attest to that. 3rd and 2.
Because he's better than you, too.
Oh, yes. Marty Schottenheimer, 45 points allowed, and that's an ignominious statistic on his resume right now. 45 points allowed most of his career during the regular season. 3rd and 2 at the 40. And Bono hitting the rookie Bennett. And he is stopped at the 40. And it will be 4th down. Well, Mark Collins and the Kansas City defense.
Scratch your heads is right.
They'll fly home, and Marty's going to take a timeout here to conserve what he can on the clock with 2:28 remaining in regulation.
Coaches' lives cross so frequently in such strange ways. Tom Olivadotti was assistant coach under Marty Schottenheimer at Cleveland in 85 and 86. Secondary coach. Great respect for one another. And the pupil gets the better of this one tonight.
A lot of speculation here in South Florida. People wondering about the future of Don Shula and how long he's going to coach this team. He has a contract that runs through 1996, I believe, that he negotiated with new team owner Wayne Huizenga, and he has the option to go to the front office anytime he chooses to become director of operations, and all he'll say is, I won't evaluate whether or not I'll coach his team until a season is over, and it's kind of a year-to-year thing.
And that ends the discussion.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, he ends the discussion when he wants to, doesn't
yes.
he?
Well, a lot of the speculation clearly is fueled by an area resident, not fueled by him, but fueled through the presence of Jimmy Johnson. The question mark surrounding Jimmy Johnson, the fact that a lot of fans would like to someday see Jimmy Johnson succeed Don Shula, whenever that day might be.
Won't we find out Sunday?
Well, I don't think so. 4th and 2. I have to laugh it away. I mean, Jimmy's going to make a big announcement. But if Jimmy says on Sunday, let me ask you a question. If Jimmy says on Sunday,
5-yard penalty, still 4th down,
that he's going to stay at Fox and remain in television next year, what's to preclude somebody coming in after the season with an offer that blows him away?
People in this business have been known to change their minds.
Oh, yes, they have.
Oh, no. So, that's, I don't think that it's etched in stone.
That was classic. 4th and 7.
Do you have a for instance?
At the 47. Oh, man.
Well, of course, if Jimmy Johnson says that he's going to stay in broadcasting, the first thing that everybody in Miami here is going to think that he's just going to give it one more year and wait for Don Shula to go upstairs. So, you know, the people who would like to see Jimmy Johnson succeed Don Shula here with the Dolphins are hoping that his announcement is, I'm not going to coach next year. Because face it, his success here with the University of Miami Hurricanes has not been forgotten by the people in Miami.
There are a couple of current coaches around the league that are hoping that Jimmy's announcement next week will be, I'm not going to coach next year. All of them. 2nd and 10 at the 47. And Bono flips it incomplete, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning. 45 to 28. And there's a look at that hard-working, industrious, diligent tape truck we referred to earlier. Give him a hand. Somebody's got to do it. Okay. 154 remaining in regulation. We've churned a few more numbers of late. And the latest information now in terms of Kansas City with a loss is they go to 7-7, but they can get in to the playoffs by winning their last 2 because they will own a tiebreak advantage over the Raiders if they beat them in the final game of the season. And they could conceivably sneak into the number 6 playoff spot.
You got that, Dan?
Oh, yep.
Oh, yeah. Repeat it.
You got it.
That's why I never sat in the first row in class.
3rd and 10. Bono to Donnell Bennett. Crawls to the 46-yard line, and Brian Cox makes the tackle. It'll be 4th down and 3. Our executive producer is Jack O'Hara. And the Wolfman, the one and only Ken Wolf, producing tonight's game. Ray Janoff, our director. 4th down and 4 as the Chiefs trying to keep the drive alive. And Lake Dawson makes the catch and is out of bounds at the 41. Our technical director, Joe Chavo. Once again, no knuckle jobs. Ben Harvey, our associate producer. Jaime Bravo is our AD, as those of us in the business like to call it. Bob Simon, our production manager. Dennis Zabo and Jim Licata, our tech operations manager. Fred King, our assistant to the producer emeritus. The best. And Brian Gordon. Steve Hurd, our unparalleled director of information. And the gang. Our entire gang here in Miami as the catch is made by J.J. Bird, who takes a hard hit but holds on to the football. So Kelly producing halftime, our halftime crew. And to the gang up here, Andrea Bryant.
I like Taurus. Taurus has won the national championship the last 2 years. Undefeated. They are the #1 selling car, foreign or domestic, in America. Can't top that. I'll tell you this, the deal is going to be right. You're not going to find a better deal anywhere than at your Southern Ford dealers.
See your Southern Ford dealer now for 2.9 financing or $750 cash back on every new 94 and 95 Taurus.
Yeah. Our 6-inch meatball sub features meatballs and sauce on bread I just baked, all for a low economical price. I won't say how low, but you'll probably find enough in the cushions of your couch.
The 6-inch meatball sub, only $1.69, only at Subway.